on a tightrope, and I wish I could touch the ground. My future's covered in smoke, but my head is up in the clouds. And maybe this will all fade after one bad day, and I'll be okay. But my life is in the worst place, and I can't wait for heartbreak from my mistakes. I don't wanna burn these bridges anymore. It's easy to say things you don't mean when you're at war. I'm just too tired to fight, but there's an end in sight. Wave the white flag, I'm yours tonight. 'Cause my heart can't take these heights. I need your love with me for life. I need your love, I need your love with me for life. Sorry it ended this way. I need your love with me for life. Sorry it ended this way. I know I made no mistake. I need your love with me for life. Yeah, some people like me are just destined to fuck up everything that we mess with. If I was made as a joke, I don't get it. Missed the call, but I guess I got the message. Usually I fall too hard, I'm addicted to pain. And if the world's on fire, I'll be swimming in flames, yeah. 'Cause I'm too impatient to wait for change. I know I'm far from perfect, oh yeah. But I know I can make it work. I know I can make it work. I'm crazy, everybody knows my name, but I don't even know my name. Going insane, putting heavy on my brain, and I don't even know my name. It's a story about a ID crisis. Used to think my only future was the night shift. Brain on ADHD, autopilot. And through it all somehow I kept smiling. I can never find the right words to say. Only a handful of family ever sees my face. But I'm only human, don't we all make mistakes? I'm drowning in my head again, and my thoughts don't want me to win. They show compassion made of plastic, and I don't wanna be another tragedy. But I'd rather be dead than a skeleton dreaming about the things that he couldn't be. 'Cause I'm too impatient to wait for dreams.
All right. There we go. All right. I was just trying a new setting there a little bit before I started. Hi, everyone. Hello. 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 Hi. How is everyone doing out there today? Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. So we got some stuff to do today. First things first, before I say, well, let me see who all's here. Let me see who all is here. I'm getting ahead of myself. First, we have Doug. Hello, Doug. Hello, Doug. First one in here. Hello, SoCal. Two regulars, two of the originals. Let's see here. Hello, Mayflower Kid. Very quickly becoming an original and a regular. Hello, Mayflower Kid. Not too bad. Still waiting to get paid with the new gig. Still getting paid, but that's only for a little bit. Get started. Gotcha. Okay, Doug. All right. Hope it starts for you soon. Instant geography anxiety. Hello, Mayflower Kid. All right. All right. I'm just looking to see here what we got going here. We got, oh my God, Matt Guy. Dear God, what did you do, Matt Guy? Dear God, what did you do? Dear God. Hello, Matt Guy. Hello. Thank you very much, Matt Guy. Thank you. Hello, Tarbin. Hello, Tarbin. Sorry. Let me just go down here. Thank you so much, Matt Guy. Thank you, sir. Hello, Sir Bartholomew. Hello, Meowsort, if I didn't say it already. That gives us immediately, basically, we'll see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that immediately gets us to the caller. So I'll do that here in a second. Thank you so much, Matt Guy. Thank you so much. All right. I'm missing up here. Half the time I end up sitting here talking to myself. Thankfully, I don't respond to myself, though, or I'd be in real trouble. So, Cal, I'm just waiting for that day to happen. Sometimes if I was there's times where I've been watching you, SoCal, while you've been doing that, and then I sometimes think about responding, but then I like watching you kind of talk to yourself. Anyway, I appreciate you, SoCal. Anyway, so right. SoCal server on me. Okay. All right. Hello, Weirdomorphous Blob. Thank you so much, Matt Saigai. So on that note, folks, since we're already starting with a bunch of those, I'm going to put on the Jester hat and the Jester collar. We'll start off with both of those. Thank you so much, Matt Saigai. You are my Lord and Savior, Matt Saigai. I think you really are a god, as you said previously. All right. All right. Here we go. Thank you very much. So, we have a few things to talk about today, folks. We're going to do we're going to do as normal. We're going to do a little educational stuff first. Now, I have gotten lots of feedback about how some people don't like the educational stuff at the beginning. So, unfortunately, that's not going to go away. But I just won't really mention it in the title of the stream, so people are forced to watch it because I am willing to manipulate people so that they get an education. Okay, no problem there. No problem being misleading, using misleading titles to force people into the stream so that they walk in and get taught something. So we are still going to do educational stuff, of course. Now, this will be. There you go. Okay, there you go, Weirdomorphous. You kind of like knowing it, Weirdomorphous Blob. Forgive me, Weirdomorphous Blob. I well, maybe I will put it in the stream description, but I have found that if I stopped describing what I was doing and I got more people into the stream if I didn't say I was doing an educational thing, which I think is interesting. So I'm kind of being manipulative, but I'm being honest with all of you about that. Regardless, I will add it to the stream description. Okay. I'm going back to what you two to what? No, you're not, Jonas. Hello, Jonas. Hope you had a great birthday. All right. So we're going to start with a little bit of an educational thing. Then we'll go on to our classic, doing some reacts, etc. Hello, Retro Asher. Hello, Retro Asher. We'll do some reaction stuff. We'll talk about some stuff in the news. But first, we're going to talk about something that I think you'll all find interesting and we might be on a future Kahoot, right? We haven't had a Kahoot for a while. That's a normal Kahoot, mainly because it's been the holiday season. So this info we talk about today will probably be on a future Kahoot. Hello, Dolly Boy. Hello, Dolly Boy. In the meantime, we've already gotten 5 super chats, which means if we get, what, 2 more? If we get 2 more, we get to play a game. If we get to 10, we will do a Jester After Dark stream. Okay, so if we get to 10, we'll do a Jester After Dark stream. We've already gotten up there. And you know what? I'm going to be an asshole. I'm going to say if we get to 12, we'll do a Jester After Dark stream because we already started off so strong. Okay, not 5 super chats, 5 subs. Exactly, Matt Saigai, but those count towards the super chat goal. But if we get to 12, we'll do a Jester After Dark stream because we're already started off so well. All right. I know that's evil, Matt Saigai of me, but alas. Okay. No, there weren't like complaints about it. It was that people would there were people not I didn't get as many viewers. I don't get as many viewers during the educational parts of the stream, which I thought was funny. And then as soon as I stopped doing the education, suddenly more people start showing up and staying. I can see all the metrics, so it's interesting. Okay. So it's sort of my way of manipulating the situation. Okay, so guys, let us start by talking about something I think you'll all find interesting. This is kind of a less what's the term? A less dark topic. I thought it'd be nice for us to do something a bit less dark. You're all evil. I can see what you're saying about me in chat. I don't care today. I don't care today. I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good mood. I'm exhausted, but I'm in a good mood. Maybe because it's the exhaustion. So let's talk about something I think you'll all find interesting. Today, our topic is anthropology. We have not done much anthropology recently, so I thought it'd be nice to go back to a little bit of anthropology. And what we're going to talk about today is something called the potlatch. Okay. No, you're right, Hiyori. You're right. But I still want to do the education stuff, as I'm sure you can guess, because that's sort of my thing. Right? Where'd my face go? There it is. Okay. Dubois. Dear God, Dubois. Thank you, Dubois. Dubois sent a massive super chat. Thank you so much, Dubois, for that super chat. It says the Fair Representation Act would end gerrymandering. There is a video on expanding Congress. Dubois, could you send me that video? We will watch it today. We will watch it today, especially after that donation. I accept bribes. If you know where the video is, a Fair Representation Act would end gerrymandering. There is a video on expanding Congress, and it goes in depth basically on what I understand a state has a specific number of seats. Yes, exactly. Excellent. Okay, Dubois, did you post that over on, what is it called? Discord? Because I will gladly say it again, Meowzord. If you have another Canva tab open, that's why there's a border around the text box. Oh, I'm a fool. Okay. I got you. There we go. That makes sense. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mazord. I'm still learning Canva. All right. We'll do that then. Hopefully that helped a bit. Okay. So thank you so much. Okay. That's fair, Dubois. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dubois. It's definitely good enough, Dubois. All right. So thank you so much, Dubois. That automatically, I would say, well, that gets us to 7, I would say. We'll get a few more. Well, we'll say it gets us to 10. How about that? Okay. If we get 2 more, we'll do an After Dark stream. Okay. So a potlatch. Now, let's talk about it does sound like a, what's it called? A casserole, does it not? It does sound like a casserole. So a potlatch is actually a ritual. Now, we're going to talk about what a potlatch is. There are different cultures around the world that engage in potlatch. And like I said, this is going to be sort of a positive topic. I wanted to kind of talk about something more positive about humans that maybe we can think of and compare to our own culture. And so anthropologists have studied potlatches. They think they're super interesting. Let me tell you what it is first. Let me show you what it is first, okay? So a potlatch is an event. Now, it would typically be practiced by native ah Native American groups in the northwestern United States. There are multiple Native groups in the northwestern United States, and they engage in something called the potlatch. Let me show you a map of the groups I'm talking about. Potlatch ceremony. For those who have heard the word potluck before, it is similar, but it is not the same. So I'll show you here where these groups are from. So if you look here on this map, these up here in the United States is the Northwest, where the Northwest Native American groups are. This area is very abundant in fish and wood. So a lot of their culture is based off fishing, hunting, and the building of really beautiful things made out of wood. That's a very interesting Native American culture these groups have. I'll show you some images. It's very cool, beautiful, beautiful. If anyone's ever, you probably have seen, especially if you're American, you've probably seen some of their artwork before. Things like this. Look at this clothing they wear. Amazing, beautiful. These amazing designs on it with these images of animals. The idea here, they operate in chiefdoms, so they will typically they're not egalitarian. They have chiefdoms where there is a single sort of head chief who has the most power, and families dynastically run different groups, tribes, I guess you could say. They actually even for a long time engaged in slavery. So this is not this is not an equal society. They were very hierarchical. They still exist today. Obviously, don't do the slavery anymore, but these were hierarchical societies with a chief. And they also did things like they would do things like this. Look at this. This is you probably have seen a totem pole before. That is a totem pole. You've probably heard of totem poles before, totem poles representing a bunch of different ancestors. Each family, each family in these Northwestern Native American groups links their lineage, as in the superstructure of this is that they link their lineage, their family lineage, to some god in the past. And to these groups, gods used to be animals. These animals then came down to earth, removed their animal form, and became humans. So why am I saying this? Well, after these gods removed their animal forms, they basically took off those animal forms like a mask. I know this might sound confusing, and each of these family groups that rule these tribes has that mask. And they bring it out in special events and put it on, and it's a very sacred object that was supposed to be what's left of the animal form of the god that they're descended from. All right. So all these different animals you see here showing the different tribal groups, each animal form that they have a lineage from. Okay, right, Weirdomorphous Blob? It's very cool. You have this big smiling image of probably another image of an animal god. So to them, animals are almost closer to the gods than humans, kind of. That's debatable because they do think the gods became humans. Regardless, very beautiful art. Highly recommend you guys look it up. And in special events like the Potlatch, so I'm just kind of give you an intro here. They do things like this. Each tribe that comes to these potlatches. So typically, when they have a potlatch, different families all come together in underneath and meet together in a giant meeting called a potlatch. All right, and each tribe will come out with their mask, the mask that there used to be their god. Okay, and they will dance around with the mask just to show to remember the past, to link their lineage back to the god that they came from and things like that. So here we have an example of one of those dances. This is a modern day potlatch. They still go on today. You're going to see here that they were made illegal for a while. I'll explain why, but this is what it kind of looks like. Now, this isn't the most entertaining version of this video I've seen. This mask looks kinda hard to handle. A lot of times they'll dance around in a really cool way. This one looks a bit big, so it's kinda hard to handle. It looks like their god was some sort of stork, okay? Alright, and they have these big drums, and each of these people are different leaders in a particular tribe, and then there's a bunch of people who sit around, and you'll notice right here in the middle of the floor is a fire. Now that's important, and you'll see what I mean in a second, is a fire. You see this fire? This is a really small fire. It used to be that these fires were much bigger. Modern day, they don't make them as big anymore, and I'll explain what they're used for. They did, Jonas. They actually did have some similar traditions. Okay. Now, so you get the general idea there. Here's the thing. Real fast here, I'll show you one more. Here's an even more modern one. Where at these potlatches they will dance. Okay. Look what's in the middle of the floor. For those you may not be able to see it, there is a giant pile of cloth and other objects. Giant pile in the middle of the floor of cloths and other objects. And I don't know if we see anyone add something to it, but that is what you will see happen. In a normal potlatch, you will see people putting things in the middle of that pile in the middle of the floor. And again, I'll explain in a second what that is. Okay, you guys get the general idea. By the way, for the Meowzord, kind of. You'll see here what I mean. So, this is what a potlatch is. All right. As I said, these societies are pretty abundant. What I mean by that, or I should say not abundant, they rarely starve. Let's put it that way. There is a lot of abundance in the northwestern United States and Canada. Okay. A lot of natural abundance, tons of fish, tons of wood, tons of other things. It is it is unique in that most societies we see that have hierarchical structures like these natives do live in places that are less abundant, interestingly enough. So this is a strange example of a native cultures that actually are live in a very abundant area and still have a hierarchical social structure where you have a chief. They used to even have slaves and things like that. Okay. So this is what a potlatch is. What you do is you bring people, all these people together of different tribes, different families. And something that anthropologists noticed is that these different tribes and groups almost never fight with each other. They almost never fight. Very rare for them to fight with each other. They used to maybe more than they do than we think. They would fight with other native groups, not as much with each other. The reason is that these potlatches. You hold a potlatch. Typically, a potlatch is held during a big event like a marriage, the ascension of a new chief, a birth, tons of different reasons. And at these potlatches, you engage in something that anthropologists, this might be in a later Kahoot, call competitive altruism. Competitive altruism. And this is what it is. The host of the potlatch has to display their wealth. And this is how you display their wealth. You either hand out and give away a ton of your wealth to the people at the potlatch, or or you destroy your wealth in that fire in the middle of the floor. So you invite, let's say this again. At a potlatch, the host tribe or leader invites an other tribe or other tribes. And then in a competition of wealth and in a display of wealth and authority, the Meowzord, you're going to see in a moment, Meowzord, why this was made illegal. And you're right on track, Meowzord. The other tribes come by and they will also compete with the host to see who can give away the most goods to people there, or or who can destroy the most goods in front of the people there. Okay. And so that's called competitive altruism. These different groups would compete with each other to show who could be the most altruistic and who could destroy the most of their wealth in a way to display their power and their wealth. Did some refuse? Hiyori? No, not well, maybe in Hiyori. I don't know. I don't think so. But this is a very common practice. And it would get in basically they wouldn't fight each other because they would compete by doing this. Okay. Mayflower Kid. I know it's kind of messed up, right? Mayflower Kid. So all right. What's interesting about this, folks, is that there is an idea in sociology and anthropology called a total social phenomenon. These are cultural practices or things that different groups do that encompass every part of a society. So these potlatches are religious because, as Malzord said, when you burn those goods, they go back to your ancestors. It is political, it is a display of power and wealth. Oftentimes, tribes that are visiting will sometimes not destroy or hand out as much as they can as a show of deference to the host. You see what I mean? So if the host is the main chieftain, you're not going to go insult the host by giving away more goods or destroying more goods than he can. You see what I mean? So it's political, it's economic. It also basically allows a redistribution of wealth. So it keeps stability. Remember how I said in this part of the world, there is a lot of material abundance. There's a lot of fish, there's a lot of wood. If there was this much abundance and you had really bad wealth inequality, you're going to have some revolts. You're going to have some people not agreeing with that because they can just go out and get more fish for themselves. So at a potlatch, the wealthy essentially redistribute their wealth in a competitive way. All right, which kind of keeps stability in society. It also reaffirms social connections and things like that. Because everyone sits in their own given position, they each have a specific role. They wear gear that reminds people of their position in society. It also reinforces hierarchy. It does, and oftentimes slaves would not be allowed at these events. But but you see what I mean. That is a potlatch. It is the ritualistic sacrifice of the wealthy's wealth for the sake of the community. And the more you give, the more powerful you are. All right. Now, Malzord made a comment, a very interesting comment, where Malzord said, so real fast, that video I just showed you, they don't do the sacrifice of wealth anymore, so they don't destroy goods anymore. Partially because these native groups are very poor, due to the fact that they've been abused for years by the Canadian and American governments. Okay. So in the middle of them is but they do distribution of goods. So you see in the center here are a bunch of blankets that they're going to be distributing as a form of sacrifice. They will put them in the center and dance around them, and people will add more to it and more to it from different groups, and it'll be distributed. Okay. So Malzord made a comment about how the anti-capitalist scum. Now, of course, Malzord was joking, but funny enough, funny enough, this was hello, Lane. This practice was banned by law from, let me, if I remind the time here. Okay, the Canadian government banned potlatches from 1885 to 1951. And this, can we guess why? Why might a government, a capitalist government, well, also a government run by Europeans, there are multiple reasons for this, want to end the potlatches? Can anyone has a guess? I'm curious what you have to say. In the meantime, folks, if we get 2 more super chats, I will put on we'll do the After Dark stream, okay? Hello, Lee Lane. Hello, Lee Lane. All right. Okay, anyone have a guess? Anyone want to take a guess? You don't have to. I can just tell you. So, all right. The big problem here was that a lot of times okay, Jonas, if they truly believed in the free market, they would have appropriated the culture, start selling luxury toy. Hey, that's fair, Jonas, and they actually did. Well, having tribes that you've oppressed come together will never go well. Dolly Boy, you're on track. Yes, they do, J Mac. Okay. So Dolly Boy says that is absolutely one of the reasons, Dolly Boy, this idea, they were suspicious of all these different tribal groups coming together and like doing these things because that could symbolize a revolt. Absolutely. Another reason was they didn't like the idea of destruction of wealth. They just didn't. They thought it was backwards, barbaric, and they thought it was thrown in the face of capitalism. Some of the things that they would And they also didn't like the idea of redistribution of wealth in these communities. Some of the things that were most commonly destroyed were trade blankets and coppers, which were given by the Canadian government as sort of gifts to the tribe for their obedience and stuff like that. And these things were often destroyed. They trying to see here. The government's ban on potlatching came at a head in 1921. Oops, sorry. Yeah, they said it was barbaric, wasteful, and unchristian, these potlatches. All right. Alas, they continued doing these things. Amazing, Dubois. We'll watch that video, okay? Where did you put the video over? Right? Yeah, I was already now, do you guys notice that? How the government said it was unchristian? The free giving out of goods is unchristian. So okay. Yeah, right. Malzord, exactly, exactly. They were having a hell of a time bribing these tribal leaders with these gifts because they would just give them away to people. Okay, thank you, Dubois. So you can see here, it's very, very fascinating. I know maybe I'm a nerd. I think the whole idea of the potlatch and the banning of it is very fascinating. Anthropologists have studied the hell out of this. This whole thing where they was banned. Historians think it's super interesting. And let me give you an example. They kept doing it. Oftentimes, the government would arrest dozens of them at these potlatches, and they would still do them because it was such an integral part of the culture. Also, as these things were banned, you see a massive spike in wealth inequality and instability in these tribal societies. What do you expect? Remember what I said before? In a place of abundance, if you don't give away the wealth to some extent, you're going to have some issues. Okay. So it caused all kinds of problems. It says here the Canadian government's ban on potlatching came to a head in Christmas in 1921 when Dan Cranmer held the largest potlatch recorded on the coast of British Columbia. Thank you so much, J Mac. Okay, one more and we'll do the After Dark stream. Wow, we're moving fast today with the subscript the money. Okay, I should say contributions. At the coast of British Columbia at the village of Mimkawamlis. Federal authorities caught wind of the event and 45 people were arrested at a potlatch. The participants were given the choice of either surrendering their potlatch regalia, so those beautiful garments I showed you, to prevent them from having future potlatches, or going to jail. 22 people went to jail. So they're like, nope, we're not giving that shit up. You can take us to jail. All right. Which I think is pretty badass. Okay. All right. 22 people went to jail. The confiscated collection of masks, rattles, and other treasured regalia and family heirlooms totaled over 600 pieces. So they basically stole a lot of the goods that the natives had for this thing. The treasures were transported out in the open by boat and were exhibited as trophies in the parish hall of the Anglican Church in Alert Bay. So they brought it to a church and displayed them almost as like looted items. This was particularly difficult for the Kawakawakawak. That's what they're called. I'm not pronouncing that incorrectly. Don't laugh, please. Kawakawakawak, okay, which is the name of one of the tribes, as the items were considered sacred, and strict tradition required that they be stored away and out of sight. Okay. On a side note, folks, the natives were very smart about dodging this. Thank you so much, Dubois. Really, J-Mac, thank God. You guys, thank you so much. Really, you're making my day here. In a protracted dispute, natives manipulated the potlatch timing to coincide with Christian holidays, arguing that they were celebrating like white folk. So they would still do these things, but then they would say, oh, no, this is just a Christmas celebration, or this is just an Easter celebration. It wasn't. They were potlatches, okay? Okay. Um, All right. And this ended up lasting, by the way, until 1951, which is pretty late, folks, in which case they stopped banning these things as people became more aware of the suppression of cultures, partially because of the Holocaust. Okay. Regardless, that is the story of potlatches. Okay. And there are other societies in the world that do things that are very similar to a potlatch. The Maori people, or the Maori people of New Zealand do something similar. It is, as a matter of fact, anthropologists now use the term potlatch to describe a whole bunch of different cultural practices everywhere, places all over the world, even if they're not exactly the same potlatch as the Northwestern natives do. All right. And to this day, they still do potlatches. They don't destroy goods anymore. There's no more slavery or anything, but they do distribute goods and things like that. All right. Okay. Also, on a side note, before we go on to the next thing here, there is one of the stories that is told by the native peoples of this area is that there was a thunderbird. They call it the thunderbird that caused the world to shake a certain number of years ago. And this has been passed down orally in their teaching for a very long time. Okay. As a matter of fact, they say that the story that they tell is that there was this big thunderbird that dropped a massive whale because they hunt whales a lot, dropped a massive whale to the earth, which caused the ground to shake violently. Now, geo yeah, geographers have now discovered that there was a massive earthquake that hit that part of the world because of the Cascade Fault. I forgot the name of the fault that's there. That we actually have records of hitting Japan right around the time that these legends are connected to. So it's super interesting how you can there is yeah, in a tsunami. Yep, you can connect a lot of even oral histories have a grain of truth in them, and this was an oral history that was true. Okay, that there was this massive earthquake, and of course, the native people interpreted it as a giant whale being dropped to the earth and causing the shaking. Anyway, and also causing a tidal wave or a tsunami. All right. Anyway, very interesting there. Just last one here. I love the music in this one. I'll show you one more of one of these potlatches happening. Look at this art. You don't know if you guys can see it. There's these massive totems made of wood that are beautiful, very colorful. Oh, we already saw this one. This one has a giant penis coming out of it. There were a lot of times penises are sort of shown on these figures. Right. I'm trying to find the another better version, the one I should saw here. Oop. Oh, oops. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I can't. But it doesn't matter. So anyway, you can see here. So this is practiced by all kinds of peoples in the Pacific Northwest. This is them making one of these cold totem poles. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. All right. Okay, guys. So if if we were to do a quiz later, you'll know, if we were to do a trivia or something, doing a Kahoot, you would know what a potlatch is now, right? You would know a potlatch is a total social phenomenon where native peoples engaged in competitive altruism, right? Wouldn't you guys like wouldn't it be nice if we did things like this? We do some things like this. Now, does anyone practice where, you go to a if people come over to your house to eat, they have to bring something to eat too? Sort of this understood thing that if you go to a group event, you have to bring a side dish or something. Now, that is not the same as competitive altruism, but that is sort of getting there. We do think I think it's called a potluck. I don't know if you ever heard of a potluck, which is sort of similar, but is not like sacrificing and not giving out goods, right? It's sort of an equal contribution across the board. But that is we do some things that are kind of like it, but I wish we did more. Yeah, JMac, potlucks at work. But it's not something that diminishes the power of a hierarchy, right? It's not like the host well, anyway, it's complicated, but we do some things like this, but I wish we did more like this. Wouldn't it be great if the elites, like every year, the elites got? I mean, I would rather just change the system altogether, but it would be better at least if the elites got together and just redistributed their wealth every once in a while. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay. Anyway, we should just change the system because that'll never happen. But I can hope. I can be a liberal and I can hope. All right. So that is a potlatch. It's a total social phenomenon, competitive altruism. Now, what I would like to do now is this guy. All right. Yeah. And again, we will stop calling for theft. Yeah. Okay. Jonas, though, that is exactly right. Jonas, I know you're joking, but yeah, in our culture, we view that as theft, right? And we'd say, Yeah, Victoria, Christmas at my family's is just like this. Everyone is responsible for a dish and we gather and eat it all. Yeah, there you go, Victoria. That's sort of a more altruistic way of doing a holiday. All right. Yeah, we could sacrifice one of the elites. That's true, SoCal. Oh, should I say it out loud too, SoCal? My mistake. We could actually eat them. I mean, you know. Anyway, so we will get to Dubois' video here, but I wanted to show. Yeah, right, Jonas. So I wanted to show this. Now, yes, I did, Meowsword. It's beautiful. That giant indigenous canoe. Maybe I'll show a picture of it here in a second. So, all right, folks, I wanted to show you this video. Now, what something that we have that's sort of it's in our minds. I don't well, maybe not our minds, but a lot of people in the world's minds. You see people that are not in like a what is it called? Not in a civilizational society. What I mean by that is not in like an agriculturally based society or not in a capitalist none of these words are good. That's why it's hard to think of how to phrase this. Society like ours. And we immediately think like less than, right? They are must be more superstitious. They must be, have less knowledge about the world. They must be isolated. They must okay. You see what I mean? So, but I have found that the opposite is actually true. For example, there are many anthropologists who have done what's called participant observation, where they go and live in groups, other groups of people around the world. And they've said that they have found that people that live in tribal groups are actually more intelligent, more wise than people that live in like an American city, or even if they're like a doctor. I'm not even joking because, a lot of these anthropologists have PhDs and they feel stupid sometimes when they go and live with these groups. And I think there's a grain of truth to that. Now, so what I want to show you is this is a video of, and I haven't seen the whole thing. This might not be the best example, but we'll find out. This is Fearless and Far, who's a very attractive man. Now, oh, sorry, not After Dark. Regardless, I don't think he's an anthropologist. I think he just travels around and talks to people. But this is him going to meet with a tribal elder. Where is he? I can't remember where this is. In Zimbabwe. All right, and he asks him some questions, and they just talk about it. Okay, so Jonas, my fave story about African tribes was when Habzebe asked about if suicide really happens in America. Yes, Jonas, I told that story once. That there was there was an anthropologist. This actually happened too. An anthropologist went to a African tribal group. I can't remember which one it was. That's why I'm generalizing. And basically said was talking about how he had lost a friend to suicide. And as soon as he said that, all these members of this group started laughing. They started laughing. And he was like, why are they laughing? That's really mean. And the reason they were laughing is because they're like, why would anyone kill themselves? They had never experienced it because that was just like not something they had never experienced anyone committing suicide. Now, does it happen that people commit suicide? Probably, but it's very rare, okay? Because it's a much more integrated, close-knit community. All right. So let's watch this. Let's see what this guy has to say here from Zimbabwe. Yeah, Meowzord. Yeah, and Meowzord, I should rephrase this. I should say that we have very specialized societies. So like if you're a doctor, you're very intelligent when it comes to medicine for the most part. Most of them are, right? But in a lot of these societies, there's a much more general intelligence. You have to know a lot of different things. So I would say, yeah. So your society creates the kind of intelligence you have. And a lot of times these folks, I think, are much brighter in a more holistic sense, if that makes sense. Again, I'm not saying that we're not smart, but okay. Oh, can you guys not hear it? Forgive me, guys, if you can't hear it. Oh, could you guys not hear the music in the other ones too? Maybe I didn't have it on. Okay.
That's a problem.
Is that better? Could you guys hear the music in the other videos I watched? I thought maybe I accidentally turned it off. Okay, anyway, could you guys hear the drums in the other videos I showed you? Could you hear that? I just want to make sure. No, because if you didn't, I want you to hear them. But maybe I'll show it to you. Nope. Okay, I'll show it to you in a second. But I'll start over. Apparently the sound wasn't on. We'll start.
You don't listen, then I
You handle your babies by the legs.
swing them.
This interview was hilarious.
I was suddenly transformed more handsome.
And at the end, Mpisi asks me a few questions as well.
Why do you make yourself very flowery?
Grab your paper and pencils, because Mpisi from the Ndebele tribe is about to drop some knowledge.
That's a problem.
All right. And now again, there's also been studies that show folks that a lot of times people that live in hunter-gatherer groups, I don't think this is a hunter-gatherer group. I think it's a horticulturalist, but tend to be happier than people.
Hey, welcome
Otherwise.
to rural Zimbabwe and near Zambia, actually.
Thank you,
And we're gonna meet a
Matt
man
Saiga.
named
Thank you very much.
Mpisi. He's a local medicine man, and also we've heard is a character. We're here to ask him some questions. We are rolling. Beep. We good to go? Mr. Mpisi, we're all the way out here in Zimbabwe. In what's the name of this village?
Kompisi village.
Kompisi village. So I've got some questions. So I've got a YouTube page, like on the internet,
Okay.
with many followers, and I'm wondering if you could give any.
Okay, I know, guys, I know I'm hypersensitive to these things, but I get annoyed. So he's not perfect. He's not an anthropologist. Sometimes he says things where I'm like, you have an assumption problem, don't you? Where he's like, I have a YouTube page, on the internet. This guy probably knows what that is. At this point, I'm almost certain. You notice he's like, yep, okay, I know. Okay, like, all right.
advice. What would you say?
Try to acquire good skills of survival, not depending on the outside world,
Yeah,
or
so-
on the civilized world, which make them handicapped. Then they don't think, they count with gadgets and forget the indigenous knowledge.
What's wrong with the civil?
I mean, think of AI. I think he's right on. You're right, weird amorphous blob. It is a weird. Okay, regardless. Yeah, Jonas. Yeah, awkward moment when your guy speaks better English than the American Miriam Adelson. Yep, Jonas. Okay, so but he's right automatically, right? Like we focus too much on gadgets, so we don't think as much.
civilized world?
They make you stupid. They control you. That knowledge doesn't work practically. Learn those skills to produce your own food and learn good medicine, which makes you healthy and young always.
I like your attitude.
If you don't
Me also.
listen, then
If I'm on my gadgets too much, I get.
So that you leave them, so that you make some ways of surviving.
Mpisi, you are full of zest. It's full of fire. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
79 years.
You're 79 years old.
God, he doesn't look 79, does he? Or is it just me?
February.
What's the secret? How do you stay 79 and still say?
Good food, organic food, always happy, no problems.
You grow your own food, right?
Corn, soccer, millet, pumpkins, watermelons, peanuts, and beans.
Oh
That's
God,
what
it
we
sounds
produce.
delicious.
And we feed those who live in cities
Yeah.
who can't work.
What do you think of city food?
A lot of chemicals, I don't like them.
You're anti-chemical.
I am a natural.
Out here, there's no chemicals.
No, I don't like you people to use chemicals. We use natural.
Right, Hiyori. And I will say, I don't know if that's fully true. As in, there's some pollutants in the air, but regardless, not his fault though. They do natural growth stuff.
Yeah.
Which heals. Can I tell you?
Yeah,
This is produced by chemicals.
it is. It's very true.
You are putting chemicals in your body. When you say it, you don't care what is happening. You are saying, I'm wearing a good
By the way, guys, that is true. You do know that when you wear like a new shirt, the paint, the colors in that shirt are chemicals and they seep into your skin. It actually, literally, that's why they say you should wash the shirt first. Even then, those chemicals will still seep in through your skin. I'm not joking. I know that sounds conspiratorial. It is true, and he's right about that.
shirt.
Yeah.
Right, Weird Immortal
That's
Blob?
a problem. That you are practicing witchcraft on your body yourself with your mind. So people don't think about that.
Mpisi, but they tell me it's breathable and it's
Right,
got
Jonas.
air-wicking pockets and it's sweat-proof.
What about this?
I mean, that's just gazelle, right? That's just one gazelle skin. And this is a truck tire, right? From a
Look.
rubber
Good
from a
air.
truck.
Good
Yeah,
air.
but this is chemicals.
No, look. We know how to treat this in order not to be chemicals. That's why it's wearing off. First of all, we boil with salt.
You boil this with salt.
With salt.
Why?
To neutralize those chemicals in here.
To get rid of the nasty
Yeah,
chemicals.
that's
I
what
see.
we
Well, he has recycled shoes that work perfectly fine.
take.
Okay. What are some other things you do to help the body? Let's say
I eat a lot of herbs.
eat a lot of herbs.
Herbs. Yes. I know anti-aging herbs, whatever you need for bodies. That's
No, I believe him given how he looks, right? I believe him. Just saying. I mean, maybe they don't actually cause anti-aging, but yeah, I'm willing to believe him on
my
that.
life. Remember, in our African region, we used nature. We depend on nature for food, for medicinal properties, for wild fruits. You can't survive without natural resources. We need them. That's why we are connected with nature.
I think that's really important for humans is
Yeah,
to
Jonas.
be in harmony with nature. We move to the cities, we distance ourselves, we get afraid of the dirt we walk on, all these different things, the weather, the animals, and then we become
Right,
unhappy
me
and we
too,
wonder
Lee-Wayne.
why. But we're so disconnected from where we came from.
That's the problem with problem with cities, especially the city people. They don't know happiness.
Tell me more.
There is a totality of insanity.
Go ahead, explain Matsaig. I think I understand what you're saying, but would you explain what you mean?
There's no respect on each other. Yeah, even if something is happening to you, they can't come and help you. How
Yeah.
can a society live like that?
Yep.
If you live
Right, folks. He's right.
over here, when you make noise, everyone rushes there to come and help.
What do you think is the secret to happiness? How do you be happy in life?
Come together with other people, be together and enjoy. Whether it's food, put it
Yeah,
there.
Global.
and
Welcome,
dance.
Global.
Everybody, whether you don't know them. Huh? Those people will take you to their homes. Even if they have got one God, they slaughter us for that happiness to enjoy that. That's their pride in us, in Africa, in rural community. But in cities, one man for himself. They don't share.
Oh my
saying
God, it's so true. It's so true. Oh my goodness.
Community, being together.
Community being together, oneness.
What do you think about the cities?
I shall never live there in my lifetime. Even when I'm dead, they should not take me to the mortuary. No. There is no peace, there is no love in the cities.
Why do you think people are so unhappy, besides community?
They've got a
Anyone's here ever been to like a really densely populated big city or like New York, for example? It is the first time I went to New York, it was an experience. I know maybe I sound like I don't know, suburban rural boy by saying this or whatever, but there are so many people everywhere, but everyone is in their own little world a lot of the time, right? Like everyone has in headphones, everyone's just trying to create their own little world around them, and everyone's trying to distance themselves. It is, Elaine, like from all the people around them, and it's understandable because it's overwhelming. There are people everywhere. Oftentimes, people trying to get being very loud, etc. Yeah, and so social fatigue meows, or because you're around all these people all the time, and it's exhausting. It also kind of teaches you to ignore the people around you a lot of the time, for the sake of your mental health. And it's and as I said, human beings for most of our existence lived in small bands of hunter-gatherers that wandered around. I can't help but think that our bodies were not really meant. I don't know if this is for sure, folks. We're not meant to be around that many people all the time, okay, without forming connections. There you go, Meowzord. I had to leave my 4-story apartment, walk to the subway, get on the subway. I saw thousands of people before 9 a.m. Right, Meowzord. Yeah, and I got to tell you, I struggled the first time I was in New York City. I was super overwhelmed. There's a phrase called culture shock, folks. I'm sure all of us, who here has experienced culture shock at some point? It's where you enter a new environment and you experience a new culture, a new way of doing things, a new human environment. And it's really shocking and you have to adapt to it. And sometimes it'll make you crazy, or it'll make you want to like go into hiding. Okay. It's like I kind of experienced some culture shock when I first went to New York because I'm like, oh my God, there are so many people everywhere, so many people everywhere. Yeah, well, there you go, J-Mac. But seriously, J-Mac, that would be an example, right? Going to Vermont, knowing that's like all white people. Yeah. Or, okay. So, Matt Saiga, you mean you do not have proper research? See here, Matt Saiga, I mean, you do not have proper research on the ingredients present in those naturally, and that they can be quite harmful in the long run. In India, the idea. Oh no, Matt Saiga, you know I agree with you on that, right? I've said before on stream that the idea of natural anything is bullshit because venom is natural, right? Venom, magma is natural. My point here is that this guy, you know, he looks very young, right? And he's 70 some, and he seems to be doing fine. I don't think the herbs actually are helping you stay young, but I'm like, apparently they're not killing him at least. And this obviously is not a commercial product that he's promoting, right? This isn't a capitalist society. It's talking about traditional medicine they use, which might not mean anything. But anyway, you're absolutely right. It is pseudoscientific, though. I completely agree, Matt Saigai. A lot of that stuff is pseudoscientific. Okay. Um, okay. All right. I went to Vermont once. First time I went to Vegas. Yep, there you go. The Trump failed. I talk to my therapist about it a lot. I don't mind lots of people, but I hate being noticed. I'm fine with airports because everyone is transit. I agree, Meowzord. I am the same way. I am the same way. Okay. Matt Saiga, same here in the US. Weirdly enough, Matt Saiga, in the United States, there are two groups of people that are super obsessed with natural ingredients. Folks, if you're one of these people, I'm sorry if I'm overgeneralizing. The liberals, there's some group of liberals that love natural ingredients, and then there's some group of people on the far right that love natural shit, and it's really strange. So I don't buy any of that, but this is a different context. Okay, gotcha. That's fair, Drusilla. Hello, Drusilla. Also, I feel like we've lost a community vibe totally, Jonas. All right. Yeah. Yeah, this okay. So anyway, let's continue here.
A lot of stresses which are regenerative. They work too much. They want money, money, money. They are very busy with their life. They don't rest even their bodies. They don't have a social life to interact with other people. That's the problem again.
So then
Notice he said they don't rest their bodies. Yeah. Yeah. That we are constantly working, like it honestly surprises me that we live as long as we do, given how constantly we're working and how we never really have a chance to mentally detach, except for like a 2-week vacation maybe in our lifetime. There's doctors, Matt Saiga, who claim that smoking actually helps in increasing humus life. That's insane. Yeah, it is bullshit, Matt Saiga. It is bullshit. Matt Saiga, you are way. Matt Saiga, no offense, but you're way over analyzing what I'm saying here. I agree with you, and I love science and stuff. I'm just saying, like, given how this guy is talking and stuff, like, we don't, this is a cultural tradition that he has, right? It's a cultural tradition that he has. And it's like, well, I believe him because it doesn't mean, like I said, it doesn't mean that it is actually keeping him young. I'm just saying. Uh, okay. Hello, Emmanuel. And welcome, Emmanuel. No, but Giselle, that'd be amazing to go to Machu Picchu. Yaha, mental fatigue has to be has to have an insane effect on developing mental disorders. Yeah. Oh, for sure, Jonas. Why do we think so many Americans, for example, have anxiety? Exactly, Meowzard. What is it called? Has so many have anxiety and depression, right? Now, I'm sure elsewhere does too, like Japan does too. Okay, Dr. Mike interviewed one such quack who is very well-known cardiologist that openly promotes smoking. Yeah, nope, I know, Matt Guy. All right. Okay.
do you think about money? Is money important or not?
I would love to. I would love to, Drusilla. And after the number of contributions I got during today's stream, I'm much closer now to being able to take all of you to Machu Picchu. Okay, because I will. If I get rich, I will gladly. We'll have a community vacation. How about that? Literally, I'll pay for it. I don't give a shit. Money is only temporary to you, and then you die. So I would gladly do that. I literally. All right.
Money is money, but human beings are taking advantage of money, to destroy their lives. They overspend. Some, they go and drink, abuse their bodies, drinking a lot. You're kidding yourself. Let that money help you. It's a tool of survival. You can even take that money and buy chickens.
They'll make more chickens.
Your eggs, your everything from them. Don't waste it. Use it wisely by investing, having cows, everything. It will help you rather than to just plunder.
Yeah. What is it
So
like
true.
living with animals? Like you have your own animals, goats and donkeys and chickens, but also there's big animals on the outside. Just actually down the road, we saw elephants just in the forest.
Yeah.
What's the relationship the tribe has with these wild
You
animals?
cannot talk about wild animals without talking about people.
Now, it's possible. It is 100% possible that he is a content creator tourist plant. There are some of these in the world. For example, if you go to Kenya, I know Jonas mentioned Kenya. Jonas, did you ever go see the oh, what are they called? The oh God, I'm having a mind blank. Not the Maui. The oh, I'm having a mind blank. That the native group in Kenya. Oh God, I'm having a damn it. I can't remember what they're called. I actually have a shield of theirs. I can show all of you. They jump up and down. Thank you, Jonas. The Maasai. There is some like tourism that occurs with the Maasai, right? When you go see the Maasai, sometimes they're used to tourists and they'll show you the touristy stuff. But so it is possible that this is what this guy is. He might be sort of a tourist trap. But this is Zimbabwe, and Zimbabwe is, as far as I know, isn't a massive tourist destination. As far as I know, I could be wrong. But yeah, but you're right, Malzor. We could look at this sort of critically through that lens. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're great people. I love Jonas.
Okay.
So, animals enjoy us.
Yeah,
they love
Malzor.
us. But you are doing a lot of problems to them.
Well, Mayflower Kid, we hope so. At least I hope so. Okay, just kidding.
We're not socially friendly. People spoil them. What is the poison for animals is our food we eat as human beings.
Cookies, crackers, chemicals. Yeah.
You are poisoning them. They change their behavior. Then you are saying they are but you are the cause of that. When you are moving into the city, it's an area where animals live. You are blocking their movement. You are
Really,
disturbing
Doug, I'm sorry.
machines and so forth. They like to say, hey, move out, it's our homes. And then you are saying they're a problem. Then you make a lot of noise. No!
Wait, who's rapping about microplastics? Did he just do that, Meowsert? I may have missed it. I haven't seen the whole thing, so yeah.
Let them survive their way of living. That's the problem with problem with cities. They don't care, which is wrong. Just leave them. They should live like they were living, like that. They won't have problems.
That was a hell of an interview. And honestly,
That's true, Meowsert. But I could tell, I will say this. He knows he has access to the internet. That's one of the things. Most of these groups don't have, do have access to the internet. I'm sure if we went inside of one of those huts, we would see an internet connection and a computer. Like most people in the world now have access to the internet. So I'm sure he has a much more wide-ranging perspective, if you know what I mean.
it just gets better.
Yeah,
And PC and I
Doug.
walk around the village. He shows me his animals, his medicinal plants, and begins asking me all sorts of questions. So we sit
Right,
down
Meowsert.
again to flip the interview around. This time, he'll be asking me the questions. But first, how you can travel with me.
I have
Okay, I don't
travel
want to travel. Well, I mean, I
wanna do
travel with
is
you, but
give
I
it-
don't think you're gay, so it wouldn't be as fun for me. But okay, moving on. So let's go. I just want to see what questions he asked the guy, and then we'll finish.
Some fur.
Do you have one?
You're
A hat
right.
like that one? No, I don't have one.
Yeah, Meowsert.
Do you have any extras?
I'm sorry. Let's see. Here we go.
Boom. Now the questions are going to get hard. Okay. You've got some fur. I've got some fur.
Do you have one?
A hat like that one? No, I don't have one. Do you have any extras?
Yeah.
Maybe you can trade. We can trade hats.
I don't wear caps. This is the best cap.
Too many chemicals, right? All right, hold on.
Ah, look how handsome he is.
I've suddenly transformed more handsome. How do I look? Do I look good? Wonderful.
Matt Saigai, what about water bottles? From what I know, Matt Saigai, the water bottle, if you have a water bottle, there's going to be a lot of microplastics in that water.
And PCs, you're a very wise man, by the way.
Oh, thank you for that.
One thing I wanted to ask is, do you have any questions for me? What is your...
First thing,
Yeah.
why do you make yourself very flowery? To be a flowery man, Or is it for attraction or what?
There you go, Meowser.
It's a really funny question. The interesting is, I don't even know if people understand why they get tattoos. Like for me, I think it's a mixture of a few things. This is 25.
Okay, I don't really care about his opinion.
We get these something. They need a bit of.
Pain is two ways. It's good or wrong. Every young man, when they grow, they should feel pains. You could even use a nopicary, a big one like this.
like this.
It should
Is he just saying beat people?
not pain. Now, culturally, when you look at pain, you can be angry that you can do something evil. But if you pass through pains, you stop there. Say, I've dealt with that. That's my.
Oh, actually, that's very true. I think that's very true. I think people who have been through more suffering are less likely to do, okay,
through pains. But pains, they can mold you to be what you are in future through those. You start
yeah,
pain.
sometimes.
It's a matter of ladder of life. For where you are from to the next life, where you need to go through. You can need the pains so that you can, certain circumstances, you pass through them if you have got pain. In our culture, even babies, they handle them with legs like this.
You handle your babies by the legs.
Swing them as if like you are dropping them. They
What?
should learn how to differentiate a pain and fear.
I don't know if you should do that with a baby. That's my opinion. Forgive me. I know I might be being culturally insensitive here, but
Trust is something in there that's very important too, right?
Yes.
Because if you don't have trust, then the pain and fear is much bigger. But if you learn that, yeah, so sometimes controlled pain can be a good way to build strength.
You learn
right?
how
Yes.
to control pain and fear. That's what is very essential in life. That's why I was asking you, if you have this painful, you can stand wherever in life
Aw.
because the pains which happened in your body.
yeah, no,
are
I
more
agree.
than
Meowzord.
So go through more pain so you become more resilient, we say.
more resilience.
Wise words. Okay, what's the next question?
Okay, that last question is just some nonsense, but all right, you guys get the general idea here. So I just wanted to show this to you. Mauser made a great point, though, about context. We don't really know the context of this, but, bright guy, right? Knows a lot of the issues we have just from just from reading about him and stuff like that. I guess so, Drusilla. Like he said baby. He said, like, let's like fling the baby around. I'm like, let's not, let's maybe not do that to the baby. All right. Okay. So, all right. I think this is AI. Meowsor. All right. So that just to show that to you, just kind of a way of thinking how, just because other people don't live the same way we do doesn't mean they're not smart, okay, or doesn't know that they don't know what they're talking about. And you can imagine, folks, that there are, I've met people from all over the world, and a lot of times there are things that we do that they think are weird. All right. One of the big things that we do, by the way, what do you mean you've been abandoned in the chat, Mayflower Kid? What do you mean? Are you caught up, Mayflower Kid, in the chat here? Because maybe you're not. All right. So this is, what was I going to say? One of the things that we do, especially in the United States, folks, that some other people in the world think is really weird, is the fact that we just use toilet paper. And now, let me explain that for a second. We only have toilet paper after we use the restroom. We don't use water. We don't really, spray ourselves, if you know what I mean. Okay, thank you, Jonas. Exactly, right? You see what I mean? You see what I mean? So that is kind of weird to some people around the world. Exactly. I'm Sir Bartholomew, I am a bidet supremacist. I am a bidet supremacist. Hello, little bit Vic, okay? Like, it's weird. And a lot of times we tend to think that, there's like this joke that, uncivilized, quote unquote, people don't use toilet paper. But we're the weird ones, right? We're the weird ones. We're the ones that have this thin little piece of paper that we put between. Okay, you know what I mean. I'm just saying we probably should fix that. Right, we should probably could fix that. By the way, a large part of that is because the toilet paper. I'm not joking. This sounds crazy. Yeah, exactly, Meowsor. Because the toilet paper industry has heavily pushed for preventing the sale of bidets and stuff in the United States. Regardless, yeah, you back exactly. Go back in the good old days. Just use the gardening hose, right? Okay, it's weird. And by the way, if you go to Europe, folks from Europe, you might tell me if I'm wrong. Okay, Jonas, you're not wrong. Jonas says it's something that has always baffled me about Western culture. You realize you're walking around with dried fecal matter spread in between your crack. Jonas, I'm not trying to be gross here, but it's true. that's that's what we do. All right. Anyways, so I'm gonna promote the use of a bidet. Okay. I'm gonna promote the use of a bidet. I think everyone should use a bidet, and we should stop being filthy barbarians. See what I mean? Okay. Anyway, so there you go. That's my little PSA, my little bidet supremacist ideology. I'm sure you do, JMac. I'm sure you do like having that. Okay. And well, anyway, so people in Europe, sometimes there's even shower heads in Europe. Oh, we were a little bit, Vic. We were talking about different cultures around the world and stuff, and I'm making the point that there are some things we do in America that people around the world think is gross. One example of this is that we only use toilet paper after we use the restroom. We don't have a bidet. We don't use water. It's a lot of people that's really gross. Yeah, that's true. Fecal transplants can be good for you, but only if they're done. Okay. Yeah. No, Mauser, you're not wrong. This is guys, there's actually I read a study on this. I'm not even joking. This is gross. I read a study on that, Meowsword, on masculinity and bidets. Okay, you know what? I'll put my face up for this. Let me just tell you real fast. Oh, I feel gross talking about this. Anyway, there was a study that shows that especially men in the United States don't like using bidets because they view it as emasculating because it feels good. Now, okay. You know, maybe we shouldn't go uh okay. And I will say, there are you're right, Matt. Like there are there are not that many countries that use bidets, but I feel like everywhere should. Okay. All right. Yeah, exactly. Guys, like it's okay for it to feel good to spray water on your butt. You see what I mean? It's okay. It doesn't make you gay. It doesn't make you gay at all. I just want to throw that. I know. I'm sorry, Victoria. I'm sorry. It's okay. You don't need to feel emasculated because you spray water on your butt and it kind of feels nice. I'm just saying. Okay, we'll get out of this. We'll get out of this. Yeah, that's excellent, Bit Vic. And yeah, bidets can be expensive, though. I guess not anymore. They're not that expensive, but you're right. The good ones definitely are. Yeah. Yeah, Matt Sci Guy. Okay, so just something to think about. Just something to think about. I'll stop talking about this. Oh my god, it does, Meowzor. Don't get me started. Okay. It feels very nice, Drusilla. Okay. Dingleberries do kill. Okay, you know what? You know what? This is probably for after dark. Regardless, another weird thing that we do, a lot of us do, get fair a little bit, Vic, that a lot of that we do in Western Civ that a lot of other places think is kind of weird. Circumcision. Circumcision. Some people in the world view it as, why are you mutilating your child's genitalia for no reason? I can understand that. I can understand that perspective. Okay, I'm just saying there's some strange things we do too that other people think are very weird. All right, yeah, there you go, a little bit, Vic. You see what I mean? Okay, that's Saiga. You're a failure. You should try better. It's not easy to burn rice, Matt Saigai. Okay, I mean, what'd you do? Jesus, what'd you do? Okay, all right. I agree, Drusilla, but I don't think we will ever win that battle, Drusilla, because people love circumcision. Oh, I'm so sorry, J-Mac. I hope that's a joke for your sake. All right. Okay, guys. So, okay, thank you, Cal, for your contribution. So, for the day. All right. So let's go on to the next thing here. Now, are you still here, Dubois? Are you here, Dubois? Dubois. So that's our conversation. for today was we talked about the potlatch, total institutions. By the way, folks, we've already gotten the number for every super chat I get or anything that's sent to me over on Twitch. You get to choose a color for one of my nails. All right, we got multiple colors here. If you send 200 bits or a super chat or subscribe using Amazon Prime for free or regularly subscribe on Twitch or you become a member on YouTube for as little as 99 cents a month, you will get to choose the color for my next nail because I really need to paint these. So that'll be what we do now. We are going to be doing an after dark stream. But if you send me money, you will get to choose a color for one of my nails. All right. Now let's go on to the next topic here. The next topic conversation. Dubois sent us a lovely video to watch. And I understand why people say that, but I'm not, but I'm going to do it because I was as well. Hey, Dubois, that's okay. I'm just saying it doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just that other people view it as strange. Okay. All right. And no, for anyone who just asked me if I was circumcised, you will not be hearing the answer to that question. Okay. Let me find this video that Dubois sent us. All right. All right. So let me go here. Thank you, Dubois, for sending this. So Dubois sent this for us to react to. We're going to get into some politics here, folks. Let's get into some politics. Okay. So this is from I think I just mentioned this. This is from Dubois. Dubois sent this to us. Thank you, Dubois, for that. Where did I just put the damn thing though? There it is. Oh. All right. This is about why expanding Congress would end gerrymandering. This is an interesting approach. So for those who don't know, so gerrymandering, for those who aren't American, well, even Americans might not understand it because it's very annoying. Okay. Oh, let's see here. Foreskin, my chain breaker. Yes, Matt Saigo, we are doing an after dark stream. Forgive me. I was too busy doing some stuff. We will be doing an after dark stream. But if anyone who contributes in the meantime, I will paint in one of my nails, okay? Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just reading I missed some of the chat here. That's interesting. I didn't know that weird amorphous blob. Mandated circumcision does it make bottom surgery harder? I guess that would make sense. If you need more of the stuff down there in order to, that's interesting. Okay. Drusilla, I know, but I know Drusilla. Okay, so let's watch this. This is from Dubois. So gerrymandering, guys. Oh my God, I didn't know that weird amorphous blob. I've never really looked at what the operation actually is, so that makes sense. Okay. Okay, that's true, Drusilla. Now, okay, if that's the case, we'll just watch it, Dubois, and then also, if it describes gerrymandering, it'll be easier for me to let them describe it than to try to describe it myself, because it's kind of complicated. All right, so here we go. Let's watch. This is why Congress would end gerrymandering. Let's watch. Here we go.
Gerrymandering wars, and no one is talking about it.
Hey, by the way, for those who aren't American, if you don't know what gerrymandering is, just wait. You thought America had a weird political system. Just wait till you hear how deeply democratic gerrymandering is. You know, when I say that, I mean it's not, right? And that we're not really a democracy. But okay.
The gerrymandering wars are on. Egged on by Trump, Republicans in Texas are taking the extremely rare step of redrawing their congressional map halfway through the decade. The explicit goal?
So let me show this to you real fast. You see this page here that he's showing you? Each of these colors, so for example, this is Texas. Jonas, weirdly enough, not in this case. Not in this case, but okay. So you've noticed here's a map of Texas. Each of these colored areas has a wow, I sounded like a segregationist, didn't I? This is a colored area. Okay, anyway. My history brain. This is so each of these areas, these different areas that have a different color is represented by a congressperson. Okay, so like 13 elects one congressperson that is supposed to represent the people there. JMac, how dare you? Okay, it represents one person. So like the 19th district, which is right up here, represents another congressman. Okay, you'll notice how weirdly shaped a lot of these districts are. You probably can't see it very well on my screen here, but they're really weirdly shaped. So it's like who decides what group of people votes for what congressman? Okay. Now it's supposed to be done by population. So each of these areas has roughly a similar population to each other. But all right, let's just watch.
Gerrymandering the state to elect more Republicans.
We are entitled to 5 more seats.
That has opened the floodgates. Multiple other red states.
Is that true, SoCal? SoCal, why do you know some history facts that I don't? I didn't know that it was started by a Massachusetts politician named Richard Gerry, which is funny because he probably was a racist if it was 1812. But anyway, so SoCal, Jonas, you might be right. Jerry may have been a racist.
Are following the lead. And some Democrats are responding by promising to cancel out any Republican gains by gerrymandering the states they control. And it's become a total arms race. Now, as many as 30 blue state Republicans and red state Democrats could be wiped out. In a time of a million things going on, this is actually a big deal. Texas did this once before.
Okay, so basically what happens is, folks, is that groups of politicians that are currently elected get to decide how to draw the districts on these maps. So you end up getting a scenario where they try to draw them in a way that favors their political party to disenfranchise voters from the other political party, all right? And that's what's happening right now. It's been going on for a while, but the Trump administration has been really trying to gerrymander states so that it's almost impossible for Democrats to be elected.
Back in 2003. And at the time, that was seen as unprecedented in the modern era. Now, dozens of states are doing it. And as hard as it is to believe, this marks a new low for the country. The beginning of a new frontier of permanent, all-out, nuclear-level partisanship that would further degrade the Democratic foundation.
Just have a nonpartisan group. You're right. California is doing it too. You're Bob. You're right, but you're right. I should say the Democrats are doing it too, but they're doing it largely in response to the Republicans. But everyone's doing it. Yep. There you go. A little bit, Vic. Like, okay. Yeah. No, I see what you mean. Weird Morpheus Blob.
Of the country, but it does not have to be this way. There's actually a really simple way to reform our process that would diffuse this whole arms race. Before we get to that, it's worth reviewing the basics. First, the simple. What is gerrymandering? Gerrymandering is the process of drawing districts to intentionally favor one party over the other. For example, say a state is split 50-50 between both parties and has 6 districts. A fair map would be that both parties get 3 districts each, like this. A gerrymandered map would be something like this. Creative lines that ensure one party gets...
See, look, so you can gerrymander in a way that captures that So for example, this bottom right group would automatically be Republican. So would these 2 groups over here to the left, because you put only a few Democrats in each one and then make sure the majority is Republican. All right.
4, 5, maybe even all 6 districts. The execution can be really complicated, but the core idea is really simple. A party getting more seats than it deserves. The term itself is named after Elbridge Gerry, not Jerry, a founding father who served as governor of Massachusetts from 1810 to 1812. During that time, he signed into law a map that was intended to hurt the Federalist Party and help his Democratic Republican Party. So, as wild as it sounds, this is basically as old as the country itself. Second.
Good. Another great American tradition, trying to gerrymander. I didn't realize that was, I knew it happened for a long time, but I didn't know it was actually from a guy named Jerry. Okay, anyway.
How states do redistricting now?
Correct, Hiyori, they're not. They are not. It's messed up, Hiyori. Our system is very complicated and annoying.
Varies a lot state to state. But gerrymandering is all across the country. Right off the bat, 6 states do not conduct redistricting at all
a little bit, Vic.
because their populations are so small that they only have one at-large House seat for the whole state. 10 states have...
On a side note here, folks, these states that have only enough people living in them for one seat have a lower population than places like Washington, D.C., which doesn't have any representatives in Congress. So how does that make sense? How does that make sense? Right? How does that make sense?
Independent commissions that either totally or almost totally control the redrawing of maps. These kinds of commissions have been a big focus for good governance and democracy advocates over the past 20 to 30 years. And they vary a lot state to state in composition. Some are citizens, some are experts, some are legislators, some are a mix. And 34 states...
So let me explain real fast, Yuri. So we have two houses in our legislature. You have the Senate. In the Senate, every state gets 2 representatives in the Senate. Okay, every state, regardless of population, which is stupid in my opinion. Every state gets 2 reps in the Senate. Then you have the House of Representatives, which is kind of like the House of Commons, and the Senate's kind of like the House of Lords. The House of Commons, or the House of Reps, every state gets reps based off the population of the state. So, for example, California has a ton of reps, while Vermont has very few. I think it has 1, right? So in order to decide, though, who votes for those reps for the House of Representatives, you gerrymander. That is what we're referring to. Does that make sense, Yuri?
Give the authority to draw districts fully to the state legislature. This is where most gerrymandering happens. Some of the worst offenders are red states like Florida, Texas, and Georgia, which have intentionally drawn lines to maximize the number of Republican seats.
I agree, Mayflower Kid.
And blue states like Illinois, Nevada, and New Mexico, which have intentionally drawn lines to maximize the number of Democratic seats. And legislature-drawn maps are usually where those insanely shaped districts that you've probably seen come from. We've been trained to see these kinds of districts, right? Comedians mock them. Politics.
Yeah, like look at this. Look at this. Look at that snaking district going across the middle of Illinois. Like that's the kind of shit they come up with to disenfranchise voters. That's okay, Hiyori. It's confusing.
Hold up posters of them. And that makes sense. Look at some of the districts that have been drawn in recent decades. They look insane. And there are still some districts that look like this. Look at the Illinois map. Districts snaking across hundreds of miles to vacuum up the right constituents. Or the Florida map. Districts with tiny arms to make sure multiple big cities are packed into the same district. Or this donut hole blue district surrounded by a red one. But not always. Because even though it's been around forever, gerrymandering is getting worse. The reason is simple. Now you guys know that one of the big things we try to do in this series is for all of us to see outside independent.
Okay, blah, 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 blah.
Sponsoring this video.
Why doesn't Ground News sponsor me? This is what pisses me off. Probably I'm not big enough yet. Fuck them. They need to sponsor me. Yeah, oh my God, SoCal. Here in Ohio, guys, in Ohio, there are more Democrats than there are Republicans, but the Republicans control almost the entire government, if not the whole government, because this state is so gerrymandered. As a matter of fact, the courts in Ohio ruled that the gerrymandering maps were illegal because they were so discriminatory against Democrats. But you know what the Republicans did? They ignored the court order, and they keep doing the gerrymandering even though they've been ordered to stop. I mean, okay. Yeah, it does. It should be illegal, Hiyori, but it's not. That's how bad it is in Ohio. Ohio is technically a purple state with more people that are Democratic, but we are controlled by the Republicans because of gerrymandering. Yay.
But the details of different towns' voting habits and trajectories. That took time, it took effort, it took money, and more than anything, it was just not easy to do. But, and it's really crucial to understand this, that is no longer the case. Now, just like a lot of things in life, sophisticated new software and AI tools have made things way simpler.
And
more
economy,
and more,
right?
Gerrymandering is now being conducted by increasingly powerful and smart software. Think of it like ChatGPT for gerrymandering. And that has
oh my God, you were right, Mayflower Kid. Are you the one who said it's going to be AI soon? You're right, it looks like.
A lot of implications. For one, states can now draw these kinds of partisan gerrymanders much, much quicker and more easily than before. For another, these new tools can eliminate the need for some of those insane squiggly line districts that we traditionally think of when we think gerrymander. Look at North Carolina. This has been a notorious site for gerrymandering.
Oh my God, look at that. Look at that gerrymandering. And all the blue lines is squiggling across the middle so that the Republicans have many more districts. Oh my goodness.
Past. This was its map during the 2010s. Almost laughable at how insane it was. Those lines allowed Republicans to win a 10-3 advantage in the state's delegation. Now look at the state's current map. Much more clean, right? Way less craziness. Except the split is almost exactly the same, 10-4 for Republicans. Same for Maryland. This was its map during the 2010s.
Wait, so they're able to hide it better now because of the AI?
A clear Democratic gerrymander that allowed the party to win 6 out of 7 seats. This is Maryland's map now. Again, much smoother, much cleaner than before, but again, the exact same dominant result as before. So beware old ideas of what gerrymandering looks like. Things have changed, and shapes don't tell the full story. And that gets to the core of all of this, how parties benefit. And now it's time to talk about the elephants in the room. Both parties
There's a lot of elephants in the room, okay?
gerrymander, but all the data is clear. Republicans are bigger culprits. Politically, all of this debate is coming downstream from two big divisions.
Guys, I've told you this before. This is literally historically true. We have internal documents from the Republican Party about this. There was a long time ago in the 70s into the 80s, where Republicans realized that they would no longer be able to win because of their economic policies. Their economic policies were deeply unpopular, all right? So they had to come up with a way to that they had two options. One, they could change their platform to get more people to vote for them and be more economically populist, or they could reduce democracy to prevent people from being able to not vote for them. Which one did they go for? They decided on, oh, we should reduce democracy. So what we should do is, instead of changing our platform because we've been bribed by corporate entities to not change our platform, we should reduce democracy by using gerrymandering, by requiring IDs at the voting booth, by making voting harder, by getting rid of mail-in balloting, basically trying to limit as much as possible the people's ability to vote, because the more people that vote, the less likely they are to win. That is a fact. The more people that vote in the United States, the less that Republicans are able to win. And one of the things that the Republican Party has focused on is muddying the waters, making it so that you don't even want to vote. They benefit. The less people that vote, they benefit from that. So they try to muddy the waters, throw around accusations, make people worried about trying to think that both sides are bad and so you shouldn't vote at all, which is true. Both sides are bad. But you will let the Republicans win. It basically allows the Republicans to win if you don't vote. You see what I mean? So, okay, and we can debate that. We can debate whether it's bad to not vote or whatever. My point, though, being is that that is a legitimate strategy on the Republican side. And we call ourselves the shining beacon light of oh, Jonas. Okay, Jonas, here I have a trivia question for you, Jonas. Okay. If you were to guess, Jonas, in America, what group do you think traditionally, if you were to guess what group that targets, what group do you think that makes it harder to vote, Jonas? It's America. I'm trying to give you a help here by telling you it's America. So what group do you think it makes it harder to vote by doing an ID law, that like the one I just mentioned? What group is one of the most abused in American history, Jonas? It's a sort of I'm sure you'll get this right. I'm pretty sure you will. Which group do you think is being targeted by this ID law? Who does it make it harder to vote for? Absolutely, Jonas. Black Americans. You know why? Because there are fewer Black Americans. Sir Bartholomew, how dare you? Who have IDs because of the history of economic racism. Black Americans have have less money. They have less access to vehicles, so they have less reason to have an ID. So there are many fewer Black people who have driver's licenses than there are white people. And Black people traditionally vote for the Democratic Party. So one of the big reasons the Republicans pushed ID laws was to make it very hard for Black Americans to vote. Oh, this country is a shitstorm. All right. Okay. Yeah, those damn Irish. They don't have an ID. All right. Oh, that true. They also don't want the government stalking them for an ID, right? There's also a lot of trust. All right. Yep. Typical. All right. Yeah. 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 Let's see here. Hiyori, money the UK get your ID automatic. Yep, we're not here, Hiyori. We don't automatically get an ID in the United States. You got to pay for that shit. Okay, you got to pay for it. I mean, you can bring in a birth certificate, but you need a photo ID. It's complicated. They make it very difficult. They also, by the way, Republicans pass laws in some states that ban things like providing water to people standing in lines waiting to vote. I'll say that again. There have been states where the Republicans have banned bringing water to people standing in line waiting to vote. There have been places in the United States where the Republicans have basically limited the number of voting locations so that you have to stand in line for hours to be able to vote because there's not enough voting booths. So they try to reduce the number of voting booths and then make it impossible to bring water to people who are standing for hours in the voting booth lines. You think I'm joking? The Americans in here know I'm right. Okay? You see what I mean? That it and it's legal because they're not outright stopping you from voting. They're just making it exceptionally hard for you to vote and doing everything they can to make it difficult. Okay? So, yep, there you go, little bit Vic, especially in districts where there's a lot of people of color. All right? Like if there are a lot of black people there or minority groups there, you're going to have very few voting booths. I have experienced it. Okay, I agree, Dubois. I think every county should have at least one, and then then obviously in cities that have counties, a lot more. I think there should be a certain number by law of voting booths, voting locations per population. Like for every, I don't know, 1,000 people, I would have to look it up. There has to be a voting location. I know, Hiyori, not in the United States, it's not. All right. But Drusilla, actually, that's not bad. That's 120 isn't that bad. That's kind of how it is here. All right. Anyway, I'll shut up now. Let's say they fly the flag. Funny enough, laws like that come into place in places where, let's say, they fly other flags. Right, Dolly boy? Okay. Yep, it did, Jonas. Jonas, you're speaking my language. I wish we could have another battle like that. Okay, I do. All right, continue.
Developments. Under Trump, Republicans have grown more aggressive and more willing to go into all-out political warfare. And in Trump's second term, Democrats are increasingly taking the lesson that they need to meet him there.
This is a war.
Good.
We
Hey,
are
guys.
at war.
Credit where credit is due. I am not a fan of the Democrats, but recently they have at least been trying to fight back against the gerrymandering. Before this, they're like, we're not going to gerrymander, even though the Republicans are doing it, because that's not civil. Now, at least, they are trying to fight back and gerrymander as much as the Republicans, which is unfortunate that they have to, but I don't believe in political surrender. So at least they're doing that. Now, they're doing it weaker than the Republicans are. I wish no one would do it. Yeah, Matt Saigai, don't even get me started, Matt Saigai. I didn't even want to bring up his name. Yeah, I know where was love. So, okay. Gavin Newsom is one of the guys who have been sort of fighting on this issue, kind of, but weakly. And unfortunately, he's like number one essentially in the polls for being the next Democratic presidential nominee. I'm going to lose my goddamn mind. Mayflower Kid, the reason why we aren't winning Mayflower Kid is because we're corrupt. The Democratic Party is deeply corrupt. So yeah, he is. I don't want to depress myself by talking too much about how the Democrats are an absolute failure for the working class, and really we need a new party. But anyway, or maybe just a new system overall. Okay, you know what? Let's continue.
So some of this is unique to Trump and how he's changed both parties. But it's worth examining where both sides are coming from on the larger issue.
And he's so greasy. Like, okay, I know we're watching this, forgive me, Dubois, but you guys know who I'm talking about, Gavin Newsom, the current governor, and he's very good at PR. He's very good at making himself like popular by fighting, but like he's the greasiest looking politician. He's handsome, but I'm not complimenting him, but he looks like a corpo dem. He's like such a corpo look at this guy. Look at him. Look at that. Yeah. Old greasy corpo dem, literally greased back hair. I don't know where it went. Like it doesn't. All right. Compare that to Mamdani, who's a very okay. Yeah, his policies just suck, by the way, deeply corrupt. He's deeply corrupt. Oh, did you? Dolly Boy, you knew it. You knew it then. Okay, so anyway, but he's well spoken, very corrupt, by the way. One of the reasons why there's been so many fires in California is because the energy companies are in his pocket. So, or he's in the pocket of the energy companies. So they basically he's not done much to reform the energy grid in California. There's tons of issues. All right, we move on. We'll go on. Regardless, he's super popular. Whoa! God, I love America. Whoa, love America. Whoa, good. Anyway, that's great. That's what we need. More failures. All right, we'll go back to this video.
For Republicans, there's a lot of frustration that Democrats have simultaneously framed Jerry.
Not a fan of Mark Kelly, Mayflower. Not a fan. Also a Corpo Dem. I'd have to look him up. I don't know much about him, but I can promise you he's a Corpo Dem. From what I do know about him, he's a Corpo Dem. But okay.
Gerrymandering is a threat to.
By the way, they're both very good at arguing and fighting, but that doesn't mean they'll be good at making policy because okay, folks. I'm sorry I keep pausing this. As I've said multiple times, we don't just need to go back to the status quo. We do not need to go back to the status quo. That's what those Democrats represent. They represent returning to the status quo. Drusilla, I am not okay, Drusilla, okay? We cannot have that. What happened when we went back to the status quo with Biden? We just got Trump again. Not only that, we got a genocide in Gaza. The status quo is what created Donald Trump. And the Democratic Party, I do hope they change. I'm not going to hold my breath on that. But we cannot go back to the status quo. We need massive changes. And if the Democrats keep thinking that they can go back to business as usual, we're just going to have another fascist that'll be worse than Trump in the not too distant future. So, okay, big problem. We need major reforms, as I said before. Okay, major reforms. Yes, there are little bit, Vic. There are some progressives that could run, but I don't remember though. The Democratic Party establishment loves to snipe any progressive that runs. Now, obviously, I'm a socialist. I would rather I would rather that we majorly reform, like change the whole system. But since I know that's probably not going to happen anytime soon, I would much prefer to have a powerful progressive president or something to at least make some major reforms. So we would definitely need something like that to at least make reforms. All right. Okay. Okay, I'm calm. Let's continue watching
Democracy and themselves as
Amorphous Blob.
defenders of democracy, while also gerrymandering themselves many times. And that's fair. Many Democratic organizations or politicians that.
I don't, Mayflower Kid, I don't think Andrew Yang would do it. I'm sorry to say. I don't think he would do it. But admittedly, he wasn't as bad as some of the other candidates, but I don't think he has the popularity or anything like that to be able to do that. Right. But there's some other issues with him. He isn't as bad as some of the Corpo Dems, but all right.
Frame themselves as brave defenders of democracy, like the Elias Group or the National Democratic Redistricting Committee, are often.
Exactly, Jonas. That is exactly my point, Jonas, right? Jonas, you said it better than I could. Trump is a move away from the status quo. Right, Mayflower Kid. I'm racist. No, I'm not. Andrew Yang just isn't. I don't think he's cut out for it. He also isn't nearly as much of a reformer as I would like him to be. Jonas says Trump is a move from the status quo. He's a super rich racist neocon that ran a fake populist anti-establishment campaign. And folks, guess what happened? People voted for him. You know why? Because they thought he was anti-establishment. He was popular because he presented himself as being against the status quo. And he at least gave the illusion, it was a lie, of destroying the status quo. Remember he said, let's drain the swamp and stuff like that? That is why people liked him. Even if it was all a lie, that shows that we are in a populist moment in this country and we need a populist candidate. Now, we have only tried right-wing populists. Maybe we should try a left-wing populist, someone like, one of the progressives in Congress who could also get a lot of people voting for them based off of being anti-establishment. Alas, the Democratic Party has repeatedly chosen to stick with the status quo every single time. Yeah, right, Matt Sly Jeffries. Okay. Yeah, I know it is. But Dolly Boy, that's how desperate people were. All he said were the words. There was nothing about him that was anti-establishment except that he said that he was. But that is the closest we've gotten to having someone who is anti-establishment, because the Democrats barely even use words to pretend to be anti-establishment. Ugh. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It is crazy a little bit, Vic, but that's why he was popular. And it's really frustrating. That's how fascists get to power. By the way, the Nazis did the same thing. They promised bread for everyone. They promised work for everyone. They were rambled about how the status quo is destroying the country, how the political system is corrupt, and people bought it because the other parties to them, except for the this is complicated. It's a bit more complicated than this. Weren't offering the same sort of things. Okay. This I'm kind of oversimplifying, but that's what fascism does. All right. It feeds off of the failures of capitalism within a liberal democratic system in order to get people to vote for it. Okay, moving on.
Ultimately involved in democratic gerrymanders. I mean, this is how Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, who signed a huge pro-democratic gerrymander, talks about Texas.
What we're going to have to do is...
Yes, Dolly Boy. For Neil, what's his first name? I don't know. Fucktard? Okay, sorry, I shouldn't curse so much during this stream. Farage is the exact same thing. He pretends to be anti-populist through thank you, Nigel. That's a very what a British name or English name, whatever. Anyway, Nigel. Forgive me. I hate him, so I just find any way to insult him I can. Okay. Yeah, no. What are you talking about? The heroic German Socialist Party were definitely how weird amorphous blob. So like he does the same thing. That's the faux populism. You scream about immigrants and things like that. You scream about Brexit or whatever it may be, and you pretend to be for the little guy, even though you're still an establishment shill. But it gets people thinking you're anti-establishment, because what are the other options in the UK? The Tories? What about the Labour Party? Yeah, there's okay. Those are establishment parties at this point, right? So people want something different. Yeah, the Green Party, Matt Saiga. I don't know enough about what's going on with the Green Party and stuff over there, but you can see how fascists really can take advantage of that sort of thing. All right. Yep. Yeah, no, you're right, a little bit, Vic, and that's the thing. We could a lot of people voted just to burn down the system, but Bernie was advocating kind of for burning down the system, but he actually had policies that would have rebuilt it in a way. He didn't want to burn it down. I should say he had policies that would reform it massively. Yep, exactly, Jonas. That's the thing. Okay, so that is how fascists come to power, folks, is that they manipulate the populace when a system is failing. Okay. Yeah, right, Mayflower Kid. All right. I mean, personally, I'd be okay with the system burning down if we were to rebuild it. But hey, I felt the burn too, right? So, but Bernie Sanders, I think, was the last best hope we had. Let's hope there's another one here soon. Let's hope. But remember, who sniped Bernie Sanders in the end? It was the Democratic Party. You see what I mean? Okay, moving on.
Whatever it takes to preserve democracy.
It's fair to roll your eyes at some of the hypocrisy here. Now, for Democrats, there's a lot of frustration from the fact that they've pushed reform in many states that they...
Honest question for the UK folks. Here's the Green Party, a socialist party in the UK? I am curious. I'm guessing they're not. I'm guessing they're, reform, like a reformist party, not reform like the Reform Party. Okay.
control, but Republicans have largely not joined them and have repeatedly undercut those reform efforts in states they control. Creating
Me
a
too,
situation...
a little bit, Vic. Love Bernie Sanders. I actually went to one of Bernie Sanders' rally, and guys, I'm a socialist. I'm not big into these political parties, but I really liked Bernie Sanders just as a man. He was a socialist. He wouldn't say he was a socialist, but he wanted to make some big changes. Not as much as I would have wanted, but really like Bernie Sanders just as a guy. Really good guy.
In which many...
Yes, he is, Matt Saigai. Yes, he is. Now, listen. Let me explain this. You all may disagree with me. Bernie Sanders is a socialist. Would he be a socialist if he got into office? No. He'd be a massive progressive. But he is, if you look at his history, he is a socialist. He openly called himself a socialist and stuff. He wouldn't change the system into a socialist system the way I would want to, but he is ideologically socialist. You see what I mean? Exactly. Thank you. Weird amorphous blob. You phrased it better than I could. Bernie's political program was not socialist, but his beliefs were socialist. He was, in fact, a socialist in beliefs. Yeah, okay, he was. He defended Fidel Castro and other things like that. He also but he probably wouldn't have done socialist policies, but but I really liked him personally. Okay. Yeah. All right.
red states.
And you have to understand too, Matt Saiga, it's okay you don't know that because he would hide that because it's America. He tried to avoid going around saying I'm a socialist because who would have listened to him? Even though anyway, well,
Are free to gerrymander, while many blue states are playing things more fair. Democrats also, very fairly, point to the fact that in 2019 and 2021, they tried to pass a national ban on gerrymandering, and no Republicans joined them. Though, to be fair, that was part of a broader package of liberal election reforms. They also are very right to point out that this entire saga was begun by the leader of the Republican Party. So here's the bottom line. A lot of this depends on how you frame the sentence. While both parties gerrymander, Republicans are worse offenders. Or, while Republicans are the worst offenders, both parties gerrymander. But however you slice it, the bottom line is clear. Republicans are the worst offenders here. Don't take my word for it. Look at the gap between House seats won and popular vote percentage.
proportional seats, I'm sorry here.
Republicans have clearly benefited more. In fact, since voting rights were expanded to all Americans, there have only been 2 times in which the party that won the National House popular vote
Really? That's interesting, Matt Sock. Geez, I didn't know that.
did not win a majority in the House. And both
Cool,
times,
Viore, I didn't know that.
Republicans lost the popular vote, but controlled the House. But the popular vote, district shaped,
Is that so, Dolly? See, I would have to look more into the Green Party. That's interesting. That sounds great. I wish we had a Green Party like that.
these only tell us so much. Remember at the beginning, the 50-50 state?
Well, Mayflower Kid, I got to tell you, you're right. Focusing on who is the worst gerrymandering is part of the problem. Right? Okay. You're right, Mayflower Kid. That being said, this is still super important because guys, the reason I started this channel essentially was anti-fascism. I'm a socialist. You all know this. Am I okay with not getting my way fully as long as we stop the tide of fascism? Yes. Okay. I'm okay with just having that's why I keep saying I'm okay with just having some major reforms at this point. I don't need a socialist system. I doubt I'll see that in my lifetime. But we need some major goddamn reforms because I don't like fascism, right? I'm willing to sacrifice some of my overall beliefs for the sake of the good of all by having just some major reforms. And we do need to understand gerrymandering so that we can counteract what the Republicans are doing in some ways. But there are bigger problems here, right? We need to, we need to fight fascism, even if that just means having reforms.
With the perfectly fair districts split 3-3, of course, people do not live like this. Much more often, they live like this. And fair maps, in that case, become a lot more tricky. Do you try to accurately represent communities? Or do you slice and dice them to try to represent the state's partisanship overall? And that actually gets to the core of this whole thing. Compact districts are not the same as fair districts. And accurately representing a state's political leanings is not always the same as accurately representing its communities. Look at Iowa.
Yeah.
These districts don't exactly look compact, right? We could easily smooth them out. Except, the reason Iowa's districts look like that is that those are county boundaries. And the state has a law that prevents any counties from being split up. So that
I kind of like that idea. I do kind of like that idea. That's something at least. Prevents like the, okay.
those communities are held together in one district. And according to
Oh, good luck with that, Mayflower Kid. Mayflower Kid says, we need to win over the CIA. Good luck with that, Mayflower Kid. That'd be great. I don't know if I want them on our side, but okay.
independent experts, it's a pretty fair map.
But don't say, okay, this is kind of an inside joke for people who have been in the community for a while, but you probably shouldn't say that to me, Mayflower Kid, since I always fall for CIA propaganda, right? That's a joke for people know who it's an inside joke. Okay.
No big gerrymandering, and quite representative of the state's geography and politics. Or look at Massachusetts. Republicans often point to that state to explain what they view as a Democratic double standard. Donald Trump won 36% of the vote there, they say, but all 9 House members are Democrats. That can only be done through gerrymandering, right? Actually, no. Massachusetts has perfectly fair maps. The reason
Yes, Massachusetts. I love Massachusetts. I lived in Massachusetts. I wish I could still be living in Massachusetts. I love Massachusetts. Have I mentioned I love Massachusetts? Yeah. Boston is a pretty racist city, I got to tell you. But in terms of government policy, fantastic state. Very, very left wing, very not left wing, but very progressive. They have free universal healthcare there. They have universal healthcare. Yeah, isn't it weird, Mayflower Kid? There's this idea that people in Massachusetts are assholes, and a lot of them are. They are kind of mean. It's sort of a cultural thing. You don't do small talk, but they also have healthcare for everyone. They have fair gerrymandering. They have a lot of really cool stuff in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is a great state, which is funny because Massachusetts was where all the Puritans are from. A lot of them who were like right wing religious fanatics. Anyway, but Massachusetts is a great state overall, in my opinion.
is
Also, a majority minority in around the Boston area, so not a lot of people from all around the world live there.
simple. Because Republicans in Massachusetts live all over, the only way to draw a Republican district would actually be a massively complicated gerrymander, slicing up
Not
towns
just
and
SoCal.
communities and neighborhoods to link many small Republican communities together, which would only result in maybe 1 or 2 red-leaning districts. But that does not mean it's
Yeah, Matt Saigai. You would think, Matt Saigai, you're speaking my language. Yeah, I don't even know what to say to that. Yeah, Cambridge, you would think, but Harvard is also a right wing institution, Matt Saiga. Yeah, they produce a lot of good liberal left wing stuff, but it is an elite institution. It's kind of like Oxbridge over in the UK. You know, Cambridge and Oxford. Okay, for those who don't know, it's part of that sort of thing.
not a problem, right? 36% of the state
Oh, okay. Well, Cambridge. I thought you were talking about Cambridge, Massachusetts. Okay.
voted for Trump, and 100% of its representatives oppose him. And this is true for Democrats, too. Going back to Iowa, Kamala Harris got 42% of the vote there, but Republicans
Is that true, Kayla? Damn it, Kayla, you just ruined my image of it. Okay, because I don't live there anymore, so I haven't kept it with it. So you say Massachusetts courts are in crisis and are behaving illiberally. Damn it, Kayla, thank you for telling me. I need to look it up.
hold all 4 districts. Again, that's not because it's rigged. It's because, like Trump voters in Massachusetts, Harris voters are spread out a little bit everywhere.
Yeah,
Same
right,
for
Priscilla.
Montana or West Virginia or Idaho or the Dakotas. Millions and millions of Democratic voters live here and have no representation. And that is not just because parts of our system are rigged. It's because our system as a whole just doesn't work. The United States exists at the unique crossroads of 2 things. 1, we elect 1 representative per district based solely on who gets 1 vote more than everyone else. And 2, our national representatives.
The winner-take-all system is stupid. By the way, it automatically means that a lot of places in Europe have proportional representation. If your party gets 20% of the vote, you get 20% of the reps. In our country, if you get 20% of the vote, the other party gets 80%, you get 0 reps. It's winner-take-all, which is deeply undemocratic, in my opinion.
Represent way, way, way more people than almost the entire
you're right,
world.
little bit, Vic.
The
You're
U.S. uses a system
true,
called
Vic.
first past the post, which essentially means that
here we
seats
go.
are awarded to whoever wins more votes than everyone else. And we know how this works.
Yeah,
Say a
Dolly Boy,
Republican
I know
wins
it's the
by
same
a
in the
51
UK.
to 49% margin.
Once
Republicans
again,
get 1
Dolly Boy,
seat, Democrats
are you a psychic, Dolly Boy?
get 0. Now, it might sound weird to even talk about this. How else would you award seats? Well, actually, most other democracies don't do it like this. They use a system called proportional representation.
Oh, wow.
Under
okay,
that system, parties can get seats based on how well they do overall. So, for example, say Democrats win this district or region by a 75% to 25% margin. Democrats would get 3 seats, and Republicans would get 1. And this is how most other democracies elect their national governments. From Germany to Brazil. Some wholly elect their governments this way, some use a hybrid system, but the US stands almost completely alone in only using first past the post.
Make the political system more like the NFL? Well, then okay.
And studies show that proportional representation does a much better job of getting close to national sentiment. And that makes sense, right? Under that kind of system, Democrats in Iowa would no longer be shut out completely. They would get a chunk of seats based off their performance in the whole state. Same for Republicans in Massachusetts.
No, SoCal. I think the person who said McConnell was referring to how the courts have a bias, how McConnell stacked the courts. I could be wrong. I didn't see anyone say that about McConnell, but McConnell is the one who stacked the courts because we were talking about how Massachusetts courts are illiberal, but that's a big issue across the country, if that makes sense.
Or Rhode Island. But of course, that gets to big
I know,
implementation
right? Little Bit Vic,
questions.
especially Little Bit Vic here, who lives in Texas, basically is disenfranchised because the Texan Republicans have massively, gerrymandered and such.
Like, for example, how do small states with only 1 or 2 seats even join this? And that answer is simple. We need more members of Congress.
Yeah, you're right, Kayla.
Again, this might sound weird, especially since most of us don't exactly.
Which is kind of ironic. Kayla says here, welcome, by the way, Kayla. I think you've been in here before. Our criminal justice system is a mess, and I feel like any gains we've made have been wiped out with this administration. Yeah, and Kayla, partially because they are the biggest criminals in the country, right? So of course they don't want reforms of the system because they're the ones who should be inside of it. Okay, no, I'm just kidding, but you get my point. Yeah, our criminal justice system is an absolute mess. It's barbaric. We have more people in prison than any other country on earth. It's essentially a police state. I could go on and on and on. We have more people in our prisons than China has in their prisons. And I could go on. There's tons of other issues, as you know.
Love the ones we have now. But the reality here is simple. The US has the worst ratio of citizens to elected representatives of every developed democracy in the world. Look at this chart. We are in a completely different.
Okay, you can fix that by just doing it like always rounding up. Like you could do a way where you always have one extra or one less, where every party gets that one extra or one less. There are problems with both ways of doing it. I think the proportional representation is better, but there are issues with both.
Zone, especially from developed countries. Raising the cap on the number of members of the House is fully within Congress's power.
Matt Saigai, that is a really good question, and I will answer it in a second.
Many times. In fact, we're currently on the longest stretch of not raising the cap in US history. And even if we didn't go to a proportional system, raising that cap could go a long way towards alleviating polarization and de-escalating the gerrymandering wars. With more seats, districts can be smaller and more representative of smaller enclaves and communities. And when that happens, the chances of Republicans winning seats in Massachusetts or Democrats winning seats in South Dakota goes up. So, big picture. Yes, both parties gerrymander.
Yes, Dubois.
Yes, it's still worse among Republicans. And yes, this is an active choice being made by our leaders to allow this blatantly, absurdly anti-democratic practice to continue. But truly fixing this requires a deeper look at our system overall. Because it's obvious what we're doing now isn't working.
I don't know, Druzilla. I don't know much about the NFL.
Do you think we need to change the way we elect?
Okay, that was really good, Dubois. Thank you. That was very good. That was very good. Can someone answer? I am curious. Would you tell me, Druzilla, is that true? Druzilla says, is it true that it's always the same teams in the NFL? I heard somewhere no teams can drop down or go up. That'd be interesting. I don't know much about sports. So Matt Saigai had an interesting question here. And I think I really want to address it. If I can make it look good, put it up on the screen so we can actually talk about it. Well, why does it have to look like that? Oh goodness. Okay, we'll go down like that. There we go. All right. So Matt Saigai had a question here. Matt Saigai's question was as follows: do you think a police state? Yes, thank you very much, Dubois. That you can see it's sparking a ton of conversation. Matt Saigai asked, do you think a police state is the most practical solution for the current state of the world? Now, there are two ways I can answer this. All right. This is okay. I'm trying to. Okay. Obviously, if I were to answer morally from a moral perspective, right, from how I view politics, no, it is not. So let me talk about this as, I guess, a historian, whatever, an anthropologist. Okay. A lot of the problems in the modern day world in capitalist societies are caused by capitalism. I don't know if you know that, but they are. A lot of times it's our economic system that is causing a lot of problems. So if you want to, and so for example, crime happens in every society. Okay. Weirdomorphous Blob, you're stealing my thunder, and I appreciate it, but I'm getting there, Weirdomorphous Blob. So, for example, crime, people stealing, people doing bad things. Now, crime happens in every society, murder happens in every society, but it is particularly pronounced in places where there's, economic, there is wealth inequality caused by capitalism and things like that. Okay. Crime, lots of other problems that we as people getting upset and feeling disempowered and doing crime, chaos, things like that. All right, is largely a side effect of capitalism. So, this is what's disturbing. A way to fix a lot of the big problems we have is to move away from capitalism. Now, you can do reforms to make capitalism less harsh, which, yeah, I will admit, do fix some of the problems. It does fix some of the problems, or at least alleviate them. Or you could do away with capitalism altogether and create a new economic system. All right, which I would prefer, but again, okay. So, but if that is not an option, if you are only thinking within the system, if you're thinking, okay, changing the economic system is not a way, is not a solution that is possible. Okay, changing the system is not a solution either because you can't even think outside of capitalism, or because you think going away from capitalism is bad, or because whatever. The right wing, that's what they do. They notice all these problems and they say, well, since we can't change the economic system, we should just become more authoritarian and control people more, crack down on crime, crush all these problems. You see what I mean? So, so obviously, folks, my simple answer here is no. It is a bad solution. It is a horrible solution. But from the perspective of someone on the right wing, it is the only solution. It is the only solution, because if you don't have the option of removing capitalism, how do you fix all the problems? You have to crack down more and constantly fix the problem by force, as opposed to changing the system. So I'm trying to give you a more complex answer here. So do I think the police state is the most practical solution for the current state of the world? If you're a right winger who doesn't think outside of capitalism, I can see how in your head, it might appear to be. But there's another option. We need to make major reforms and change the system. You see what I mean? Exactly, Jonas. Jonas, if you're someone who cannot think outside of the idea, not you specifically, Jonas, but if you're a person who cannot think outside of the system the way it is, you will see crime and be like, well, we can't change the system so those people don't steal anymore. The way to stop crime is to go after them with someone with a gun. Do you see what I mean? So my point here, folks, is that if we don't want a police state to be viewed as a viable option by people on the right wing, we need to change the system. Okay? You see what I mean? All right. The reason we can't move past capitalism is part because the government is literally designed to prevent exactly a weird Marcus blob, but that just means the state's mandate is to repress is less legitimate. Okay, and even if more slightly lower shootings, this government isn't to be. You're right. Okay, absolutely, Matt Guy, and it's complicated. Okay, weird Marcus blob. Like there's a reason you feel shocked when you see cops on an elementary school campus, right? Yeah, weird amorphous blob. Okay. So that's why I'm saying we need to make some major changes. I don't like police states. I literally am constantly yelling about fascism. I hate it. But that will always be a possibility that we descend into a police state while the system is the way it is, because there will be a small group of people, or not even a small group. There will be people that see the solution as crackdown, 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 police state, police state, police state. Okay? You see what I mean? All right. So there's my complex answer to a very simple question. All right. So guys, there we go. Yeah, maybe Flower Kid, maybe. Oh, okay. Let me go back here. What was I gonna put my face up here for a second? Boop. Yeah, you're right. And you know what, well, I realize I kind of misphrased this. Yeah. Oh, Jonas. Like, okay, guys. Jonas, I have worked in schools that have that have had metal detectors. Like, and remember how I told you when that last shooting took place at Brown University, the first thing CNN says, well, why wasn't there enough security at the university? Why don't we talk about how the system keeps allowing these shootings to happen as opposed to talking about, you know, doing a police state? You see what I mean? Because if one of those things isn't an option, if you refuse to talk about reform, the only option left is more guns. And that is not an option. Okay. You see what I mean? All right. It is a, anyway. Okay. Matt Guy. Also, what are your thoughts on the would be inherently feudalistic, capitalist, oppressive, in so much that if we restart the world, we end up in the same place? Yes, Matt Guy. Let's talk about it more some other time. I will say, I think I've said it before. Civilizational societies are naturally hierarchical, unfortunately. So I don't. That's why I never. We okay. For those that are watching, I'm trying not to get into too much of a lefty debate here. I don't think it's that's why I don't think communism in the way that it was imagined necessarily by Marx can ever really be achieved, because I feel that will always be a hierarchy of some sort, always be some sort of governing structure. This is complicated. So yeah, Matt, like I think there will always be some sort of hierarchy. I got to tell you. And we could debate. I don't necessarily know if I would call it oppressive hierarchy, though technically hierarchies are always oppressive. Okay. Yeah, exactly, Mayflower Kid. You see what I mean? Most are not the most natural. They are at least natural by virtue. Yeah. Okay, you're right, weird amorphous blob. And I think naturally there are but there are like um yeah, no, don't get me wrong, TJ9. Like it's okay to have like a model of like a perfect society that you're aiming for. And I think we definitely I think it's sort of a moot point for me to even talk about communism because we're so far from it. You know, I would love to move in that direction and see how far we can go, but all right. Little bit, Vic, when it comes to trying to build a civilization that connects to local communities, I don't think large scale communism is feasible. Exactly. That's my thought, little bit, Vic. And this is just my opinion. I'm glad to be proven wrong. It's just that anthropologically speaking, there is when civilizations came about. So when humans stopped moving about in little bands of hunter gatherer groups, we all started living in hierarchical societies. For most of human existence, we did not live in hierarchical societies. But once population reaches a certain level, you need something there to keep people from fighting each other and hurting each other and things like that. Now, this is complicated. Uh, so I think it's sort of natural with the size of populations are today that you have some sort of hierarchy. Like, can you imagine living in a society where there is nothing like that? I feel like you would naturally get the growth of organized crime and like different groups of people trying to dominate each other. Okay. So, yeah, the world evidently does not work. Exactly, weird amorphous blob, right? Yep, weird amorphous blob. Okay. And I agree. I don't think it's feasible in large scale, little bit, Vic. I just don't. But, but we can debate that. All right. And I know I get some lefties get mad at me because I almost sound not what's the term? Extremist enough or not extremist, radical enough? How do I phrase this? I'm a conservative socialist. Is that even a thing? Because I'm an anthropologist, I like to see things. I want to change things, not immediately. Like I want things to happen over time because things come up. We need to adapt to different things. I want to see things evolve differently. Now that's really hard. You kind of have to get rid of capitalism all at once. This is complicated, but like I want to. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know how to phrase this. You don't go far enough. Clearly, Talia, I know, right? We could debate about this. Yeah, when there is no one in position of power. Exactly, Jay Shadow. That's my point. Welcome, Jay Shadow. We're like chimpanzees. There's always someone wanting to be in a dominant position. And so I want to create a system where there are incentives for the people that are in positions of power to, you can have power. I will reward you with power as long as you're working for the benefit of everyone. You know what? You're right, Weird Amorphous Blob. I should have phrased that differently, okay? We need to upend the political power all at once. Exactly, Weird Amorphous Blob. I phrased that badly. You help me. And Weird Amorphous Blob, I know you and we disagree on a few things, but I got to just give a shout out here to Weirdamorphous Blob. Weirdamorphous Blob is a lefty, just like I am. And Weirdamorphous Blob, we have some disagreements on some of the like history of socialism, communism, and like some of just minor things like that. But we still believe in the same general principles here. And I wish more lefties were able to kind of not fight with each other over like I'm not a well, I don't want to get into it, but I totally agree with you, Weirdamorphous Blob. Like we don't have to change capitalism completely right away, but we need to get power and then start reforming it at least. You see what I mean? Okay, or getting rid of it slowly. All right. Um, progressive socialist constitutionalist. There you go, Mayflower Kid. All right, you guys. I'm kind of rambling on now. I know. I have had discussions with other friends, and they got very heated. Oh, really? Matt Saigai, I would love to talk about that. Yeah, there you go, Nazi. I almost called you Nazi. Oh my God, I'm sorry, Jay Shadow. I saw the word Nazi in your thing. Um, it is possible to get rid of all power slowly. Yes. Okay, Jay Shadow. I don't think so, Matt Saigai. I think it's possible to. I don't know, Matt Saigai. That's a very hard question to answer. Matt Saigai, is it possible to get rid of power slowly? I don't know. I don't know, Matt Saigai, and yeah, Matt Saigai, I would agree. I don't think it is. I think ultimately you'll end up having I'm talking about getting rid of capitalism slowly, Matt Saigai, and then taking power completely, and then slowly getting rid of capitalism, and then seeing how far you can take it. But I think there'll always be a hierarchy, just because of history. Like, I'll fight it if it's the subject being talked about, but it rarely is and rarely needs to be. There you go, Weirdamorphous Blob, and I'm okay with that, right? And I'll fight it too, Weirdamorphous Blob, and I will defeat you, Weirdamorphous Blob. But we have the same goals, of course, and so I like that we can disagree on some of those things and not kill each other over it. Okay, all right. Um, okay, you guys. So let's do one more thing here. What time is it, by the way? It is 4:19. What I'm going to do, there was one more video I kind of wanted to react to. Yeah, I agree, Dolly Boy. You know what? Let's do this. Uh, let us do this. We, mm, okay, I call my friend who phrases it like you. Well, I call my friend you phrase it like you. I call him a capitalist. What do you mean, Matt Saigai? I'm not sure what you mean. I call my friend you phrases it like I'm sorry, Matt Saigai. I think you may have mixed up a couple words there. I'm having trouble understanding the first part of the sentence. Okay. Spark up, East Coast fools. There you go. Okay. All right, you guys. So let's go on here. By the way, folks, let's do a game now because we did get enough to do a game. So let's do a game. I'm kind of in the mood. What game should we play, guys? What game should we play? I wanted to do some Discord reactions, but remember, folks, we're doing a Jester After Dark tonight, so I'll be coming back for that. We didn't do the You want to do food? Okay, the first thing I saw was food. So let's do it. Drusilla asked. Let's do food guesser first. Okay, we'll do food guesser, Mayflower Kid. Okay, food guesser. That is, hey, Louise. I don't think it'll ever happen in my lifetime. Louise says I don't think you'll ever get rid of capitalism. It'll be around in one form or another. Louise, unfortunately, I partially agree with you. At least I don't think it'll happen in my lifetime. Okay, and that's why I'm okay with just sort of making it as best as I can, right? My friend phrases the argument about Xenophon hierarchy as being almost natural, and I disagree with him and call him a right winger. Okay, Matt, so we can disagree with that, Matt Saigai. I would ask you though how you would fix the problem of population and civilizational hierarchy. I don't see it, but okay. Okay, but see, when we say capitalism, we mean a definite economic, not characteristics of one. I got you, Weirdamorphous Blob. Yeah, you're right. Motor production. So, guys, capitalism Exactly, Weirdomorphous Blob. So, guys, real fast, before we get to the game, Weirdomorphous Blob is on fire today. Let me explain something. So, capital, and I don't know, Louise, and I'm not talking to you, Louise, here. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what Weirdomorphous Blob is referring to there, but just to describe, capitalism is an economic system whereby you basically have employers and employees. You have people who own private property and then employ the labor of others to produce value from that property. There's lots of other things that are part of capitalism that are not inherently linked to capitalism, like exchange, markets, currency, things like that aren't necessarily part of capitalism. They're part of economic systems. So we want to change that relationship between capital and the working class, which is owner and worker. I know. I'm going to move it on, folks. Sorry, I know I'm kind of going on here. Did I get that right there? Weirdomorphous Blob. All right. So let's go on here. This is Food Guesser. So, okay. Yeah, Matt Saigai. So you say, I don't really know. I think it is something people need to come together and solve as opposed to one person having the solution to it all. Correct. But Matt Saigai, even if you had a bunch of people coming together to solve a problem, they would need to make decisions that are then enacted by someone, right? Like, we could debate this. Like, you can have democratic or representative forms of government or decision making, even egalitarian ones, but then there still has to be a body that enacts it when you have a population as large as like millions and millions. But okay. All right. So what is it? Oh, it's from India, Matt Saigai. Okay, guys, we'll stop now. Let's get into the fun part. I got you, Weirdomorphous Blob. Sorry, I just want Weirdomorphous Blob to like me and acknowledge me. Okay. I know we're just in the depths of theory. I'm sorry, guys. I tried to avoid this on the streams. I hope I didn't bore anyone too much. Okay, so Matt Saigai, I'm going to go with Matt Saigai. Matt Saigai says India. All right. Louise, forgive me. You all know I try to avoid going on my lefty screeds here. So it was India. And Matt Saigai was right, weirdly enough. Italy, it says Sri Lanka and India. Rice, Urdal water, fenugreek seeds, salt oil, grated coconut, roasted semolina. Oh, that's lovely. South Indian breakfast dish. Me too, Weirdomorphous Blob. Okay. All right. So we'll continue here. Next round. Okay. So, all right. Let's go here. So this is, I don't know what the hell. Oh, God, it looks gross. Okay, God, I'm such an asshole. I need to stop making fun of other people's cultures. I apologize. So this is mung bean starch, rice, or water, I'm sorry, soy sauce, vinegar, sesame oil, garlic, chili oil, sliced cucumber, shredded carrot, green onions, cilantro. Oh, yeah, that'd be actually fun. That would be fun, Mayflower Kid. That would be fun, Mayflower Kid. Okay. Okay, I apologize. Maybe you know what? Maybe we'll do a stream sometime, or we will. I'll talk more theory and more political philosophy and stuff at some point. Okay, guys. I'm glad that a lot of you are out there saying you like hearing that stuff. We'll talk more about it sometime. Okay. I just sometimes my teacher brain kicks off and I'm like, I'm talking about stuff that I'm not describing to people who don't know what we're talking about. And I don't, okay, but I can do better at that. Okay. So anyway, what do we think this is from? You think Polish, TJ91? Hmm. That's true, Matt Saigai. What do we think, guys? I really have no idea. Mun beans, but it's weird because it also has cilantro. Well, do we think what are mun beans from? You think? You think China? Does anyone know? You think Sri Lanka? No, it's mun beans, Mayflower Kid. Mun beans. We had one before That was the Discord cultist Mayflower Kid. By the way, folks, if you're watching now, you should join our Discord community. We have a lovely Discord community there. And I'm gonna copy and paste the Discord into the chat here. It is a great community. Literally one of the best I've ever been in. And I'm not saying that. I literally am not just saying that because it's, the community for my channel or whatever. It's really a great community. I think people here would agree, right? Like, we are very friendly. So I'm going to post that in chat for anyone who hasn't joined our Discord. Please join it. You can also, if you join the Discord, you will be able to send me videos to recommend for me to react to. Okay, let's try. Thank you, T. T, who are you in the community? Who are you in the community? At TJ91. That's so weird, SoCal. Why there's a delay over there? I don't know why. Maybe I'll try to figure it out, SoCal. I don't know why there's a delay over on YouTube. Chinese noodles? Okay, let's do Chinese noodles. Let's do China. Yep, it was China. Thank you, SoCal. Someone else said it too, but thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone who said China. That was absolutely China. I'm going to say yum. Let's go to the next one. This is, I don't know, but it looks, oh my God, this looks amazing. Flour, meat. It does look like a samosa. You're totally right. Meat, onion, potato, milk, yeast, salt, pepper, butter, egg, and egg. Here's some other images of it. Oh my goodness. Oh, good God. This, I don't think it is a samosa. I don't think it's a samosa. Because look at this. Look at this writing right here. I am thinking not a samosa. I could be wrong. Unless I'm wrong. Oh, it could be Kazan. So I guess it could be a. What do we think here? Do you think Uzbekistan? Yeah, I don't know what the hell this is. Do we want to try Uzbekistan? Kazakh? Let's try Kazakhstan. Well, Kazan is Russia, isn't it? I'm going to try Russia. I could be wrong. And if it isn't Russia, well, we'll find out very quickly. It is Russia. Yay! Okay, it was Russia. That's the best looking food I've ever seen from Russia. No offense to Russia, but it is the best looking food I've ever seen from Russia. Okay. Traditional pastry originating from the Tartar and Bashkir cuisines of Russia. These ethnic groups primarily inhabit the Volga Ural regions of Russia. Okay, bye-bye, little bit, Vic. Have a lovely weekend. Didn't catch another live before then. Okay, sounds good. A little bit, Vic. Love having you here a little bit, Vic. Okay. You only use a microwave? Okay, next round. This is, okay, cottage cheese, sugar, water, cardamom, ghee. Ooh, so you're going to get high off this. Saffron, rose water, pistachios, almonds. Oh my God, that looks amazing. Yeah, it looks like India. This totally looks like India, Mad Sci Guy. They're all okay. We'll do India. God, what is it today? Yeah, it's India Day for some reason. It's India. Yeah, you do. Oh, that's amazing, TJ. TJ, did you tell me who you are in the Discord? All right. Do you know? I'm sorry. Did I ever look at it? Maybe you didn't. You may not have told me, which is fine. Oh, okay. You got it. Yeah, it's the same handle. I got you. Forgive me, T9. All right. That looks delicious. I love rose water, by the way. But going on next. Ooh, shrimp, bread, coconut milk, peanuts, cashews. I swear, whenever I say peanuts, it sounds like a different word, and I don't know why. Anyway, I feel like I need to overemphasize the T whenever I say peanuts. Anyway, Dolly Boy, don't you look at me, Dolly Boy. Okay. Shrimp, bread, coconut milk, peanuts, cashews, palm oil, onions, tomatoes, garlic, ginger, cilantro, chili peppers, fish stock, bell peppers, lime juice. SoCal, you think Brazil? Really? Okay, SoCal, I'll try, but like, I don't know. You really think Brazil? Indian or Sri Lankan? I suck at this game, but you think it's Vietnamese? That's okay. We all do, T. I think so. Thai? Oh my God, so many options. I'm going to ignore you, SoCal. I'm going to actually go Thai. And then if that's definitely wrong, we will try the other one. Ice cold. So you know what? We'll try Brazil. We'll try Brazil. If it's right, I will be very mad that I didn't listen to you, SoCal. So for anyone, everyone needs to apologize to SoCal. Everyone needs to apologize to SoCal. Why didn't you listen to SoCal? Okay, he was trying to tell all of you. He was saying to all of you, that's the one it is. And then you're like, it's Southeast Asia. It's Thailand. Okay, like what was that about? Right? You know, one thing I don't like there's one thing I don't want in this community, and it is being rude. Being rude to people who are in this community, and we were just I was not, was very rude to SoCal. Okay, moving on. Thank you, SoCal, for getting it right. It was Brazil. It was Brazil. Vatapa, and he literally even named it. He literally named it. He literally named it that way. Okay, anyway. Yep, I like fish. He literally knew the exact name of it, and I ignored him. Okay, I'm gonna go talk to my therapist after this. All right, moving on. Oh, yay, we got gastronomical genius. Guys, we have a record of being gastronomical geniuses. Let's try it again, right? Why not? That coconut milk, sugar. Is this India again? Ghee, egg yolks, flour, nutmeg, cardamom. That's okay, weird amorphous blob. Ooh, this looks delicious. Is this India again? I don't know. I'm guessing it's in. You really, Matt Saiga? You think it is? It's like ice cream, but like with cardamom, ghee. It looks. I would eat this though. I would definitely eat this. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's try India. We'll try India. I know, Matt Saigai, but you never know. Okay, we'll try India. India. If you're wrong, Matt Saigai, though. Jonas. Okay, fair. India. Oh, I just put India. Oh my God, look, guys, look. I'm gonna send it. Look in the chat. I started typing India into the YouTube and Twitch chat as opposed to the okay, you know what? India. I know, Matt's like I am. Yep, it's India. What is it with India today? Jesus. Okay. India trying to dominate the globe, apparently. All right, moving on. Ooh, those are crabbies. Crab, red chilies, ginger, garlic, shallots, lemongrass, lime leaves, coconut milk, tamarind juice, palm sugar, salt, oil, cornstarch, scallions, lime wedges. Oh my God, this looks amazing. I want this right now. All right. Okay. You think Thai? Thai? I'm seeing a lot of Thai. Ocean living frog legs. Yes. Thai. Vietnam. India? No, it's not India, Max. I refuse. Let's try Thai. I'll try Thailand. Thailand. No, it's not Thailand. Okay, it's not Thailand. How dare you? How dare all of you? Okay, let's try the next one. It's actually southeast of Thailand, but we're cool. We're pretty not close to it. Do we think Australia or like New Zealand or some shit? It doesn't sound like it, right? Yeah, the ocean people. New Zealand? Okay, let's try New Zealand. I mean, it doesn't sound like that, but who knows? Yeah, me too, Jonas. Like it sounded super Thai to me. No, we're even less. Okay, so it's to the northwest of New Zealand, Indonesia. Ooh, we might not get this one. This would be the first one we didn't get, right? Indonesia. It was Indonesia. Okay, that wasn't that bad. That wasn't so bad. It was Indonesia. It wasn't India, Matt Saigai. It was in India. God. Jeez, Matt Saigai, the Indian supremacist here in chat. Okay. Here we go. This is Kepiting Suze Pedang. You were right. Were you right, Mayflower Kid? Did I not give you credit for your correctness? I don't think you ever said that, Mayflower. Okay, I don't think you ever said that. I don't see it anywhere. Okay. Okay, so we might not get gastronomical genius this time. This one is, oh my God, this looks delicious. Are they donuts or am I a dumb American and I immediately see something shaped like that and I think donut? This actually might be India. Urad dal, rice flour, green chilies, black pepper, curry leaves, ginger, onions, coconut bites, cumin seeds, and I don't know how to spell that last one. Is that really what it is? Medu vada? Thank you, Mayflower Kid. Is Thai cold from Indonesia? I guess I'm back. Do we really think this is India? I want someone to verify that this is India before I say India because Matt Saigai, it would be it's Matt Saigai, I'm ignoring you. Can I get a verification? Can I get someone who isn't from India, who isn't biased in favor of India to okay, thank you, SoCal. All right. Thank you, SoCal. I need an American to verify. I don't trust someone from India to tell me the truth. Okay. All right. We will acknowledge we will do this. We'll do India. It is oh my God. Wow. That's shocking. Didn't someone say this? I felt like someone actually said this. Didn't someone say India and also say the name of this dish? Oh, you know, I can't remember. Oh, well, whoever it was, thank you. You know what? No, no, no. I think I'm the one who came up with it. You know what? Never mind. Never mind. I can't. I think it was me that came up with it. It was me that came up with it. Oh, I'm so smart. I knew it was India. I knew it was Meduvada. Okay, let's continue. All right. Next round here. Next round here. Hello, Drizella. Okay. This one is. I'm retracting my money from this investment. All right, what is this? So this is that. Thank you, Matt Saga, by the way, for the help. Okay, glutinous rice flour, sugar, molasses, coconut, mung bean, sesame seeds, peanuts, pork fat, lotus seeds, banana leaf. Now that is super interesting. Molasses. So you think Southeast Asia, Burma? You think Burma, Jonas? Korea? You know, Um, okay, Matt's like, I believe you, but do you know specifically where in Southeast Asia? Or should I just try like Cambodia or some crap? I'll try Cambodia, just 'cause we've never done Cambodia. But yeah, again, this also looks like Stephen Miller's heart, doesn't it? Look at this. Though, of course, as Jonas would say, how dare I imply that Stephen Miller has a heart? But that kind of looks like, I feel like that's what, I don't know, Putin's liver looks like or something. Okay, Cambodia, all right. Oh, it borders Cambodia. It's to the north of Cambodia, so maybe it actually is Myanmar. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. That doesn't border. I'm a fool. It's Thailand, right? Oh my God, why do I keep getting this wrong? What am I thinking? I'm sorry. Am I messing up my map here? We're just gonna look. I'm just gonna look at a map because now I'm confused. Myanmar, Cambodia, Thailand. Oh yeah, well it's not gonna be that. Laos or Vietnam. Okay, I'm an idiot. We'll do Laos. Where'd it go? Where did food guesser go? Okay, we'll do Laos. Jesus, I messed up badly. That was my fault, folks. If we fail, it's my fault. Oh my God, it's Vietnam. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. It's Vietnam. I should have done. Oh my God. Oh my God, I should have done Vietnam. Oh, I should have looked at the name. Oh my God, I messed up. I'm okay. That's it. Who am I blaming? Who am I going to blame for this? Mayflower Kid? This is your fault, Mayflower Kid. Okay? This is your fault. Undoubtedly. Undoubtedly. I blame Mayflower Kid. Mayflower Kid. Mayflower Kid is super suspicious. Super suspicious. By the way, SoCal, okay, Trump made you. Dolly boy, don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. Something is your fault, Dolly boy. And by the way, SoCal, are you experiencing flooding over there in SoCal? I'm curious. I heard that's bad. Okay, this looks good. This is flour maltose Sugar, butter, water, milk powder, baking powder, egg yolk, lard, condensed milk, sesame seeds. What do we think? Oh, you know what? There's Chinese written on it. I think it's China. Do we think it's China? Okay, fine, weird amorphous blob. I'll blame you. Okay. Uh, do we think? So do we think like this is? I think China because that's Chinese, right? That looks like Chinese on the package. Where's Meowzord when you need him? Where's Meowzord when you need him? Oh, I got you, SoCal. Okay. Matt Saigai. I know that Matt Saigai, but there are different dialects of the Chinese language that are within China, okay? And I don't know the difference. So I lump them all together as Chinese because I don't know the hell of a difference between what Cantonese looks like on paper versus what Mandarin looks like on paper. Okay? Okay, Matt Saigai. So you will let me be a racist. You will let me be a Western imperialist POS because I don't know the difference. All right. And I'm okay with that, Matt Saiga. I'm okay with that. All right. It's Chinese, and that's what we're on. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Asian Danny. See, look, Asian Danny. All right. Okay. All right. So it is Chinese. So let's try China. Let's try China. Ooh, okay. It says it's to the southeast of China. Now, what's weird here is that in this game, they exclude Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau from China. Interesting. But it says it's to the southeast of China. Does that mean they think it's Hong Kong? Because, all right, that's interesting that they separate it. And I know historically, one country, two systems. But let's see if it's no. Oh, northeast of Hong Kong. Maybe it is Taiwan, which we can debate. Oh, yeah, Taiwan. Okay. Interesting how politics can get into a game like this, right? Okay. So now there are many Chinese people out there who would say that Taiwan is part of China, right? And then a lot of people would say Hong Kong is part of China. Okay, we could debate regardless. So that was Sun Cake from Taiwan. Sun Cake from Taiwan. Yum. That looks delicious, by the way. All right. Taiwan Ichiban. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Asian Danny, they do. Do they? Oh, actually, I didn't know that, Asian Danny. I really ought to learn more about the different languages over there. Okay, here we go. Okay. Um, guys, we didn't do as well. Okay, we're gonna play one more time, just one more time, just because we didn't get super foodie. Yes, it is. Hong Kong has different cuisine and also different spoken Chinese. I know that there are tons of dialects. There's like Cantonese, there's Mandarin, there's all sorts. I just don't know how they look. If they look differently on paper, I don't know the difference on paper, so I call them all Chinese, different kinds of Chinese, if that makes sense. Oh, really? Ooh, that's amazing. Uh, all right. It's Griffic. Hello, it's Griffic. You said, what do you mean, Taiwan Ichiban? Do you mean you think that Taiwan? Are you saying it's Griffic? This would be great, actually. It's Griffic. Do you think Taiwan should be part of China? I mean, Taiwan should be part of Japan? Yeah, oh, I got you. Okay, I see what you're saying. Japan supports Taiwan. Yep, that's fair. All right. Oh, okay, I got you. I get it now. All right. Okay, so let's look at this. This looks delicious, by the way. Is this Mongolian beef? It might not be. No, there's just chicken and stuff in it. Oh my God, this looks amazing. Anyone have a guess? Is this, I don't know. Yes, it's Griffic. Agreed. I agree. Let's just revive Japanese. Right, I know that's okay. It's Griffic. I thought you were like some weird old-fashioned like Japanese imperialist who was like Taiwan should belong to Japan, and I'm like, what are you doing here? Okay, like you just came in here to. Okay, I get it. It's Griffic now. That's why I had to ask. Okay, all right. So, So we have, we'll see here. What do we think? So we have someone, you said Matt Saigai, India. Are you sure, Matt Saigai? Because it says beef, and I know I'm stereotyping, but are we sure that a beef product would be from India unless, okay. Hmm. India. I don't know, Matt Saigai. Are we sure this is India? It also has paprika. Oh, nope, it's not. It's not. I think it's somewhere in Eastern Europe. Look at this. Look at this, though, Matt Saigai. You're wrong. You're wrong. Look at this. I don't know how close I can get into it. This is in an Eastern European language. Eastern European language. You are wrong, Matt Saigai. You are wrong. Okay? Wrong. So do we think here that, yeah, that right, Jonas? That's what I was thinking. You know, it could be. God, it looks so good, though, doesn't it? Oh, what does it say over there? Okay, let's try this. Let's try like Poland, and then I doubt it's Poland, but we'll see if that works. And then if it's close, we'll try Poland. Okay, we're warm to the southeast of Poland. Ukraine? Oh no, it borders Poland. Maybe it is like Armenia or something. Someone's mentioned Kyrgyzstan. That's possible. I'm gonna try Armenia. It was Armenia. Hey! Yay. Whoever mentioned Kyrgyzstan, it kinda had that like Turkish feel. I'm not saying that Armenia is Turkey. Please don't kill me. I know people out there don't like that. I'm just saying there's some cultural transmission that may have happened there. It looks kind of the same as something you'd see out of Turkey. Okay, so that was Korovats. Korovats. We're doing much better this time, I think, than the last time, even though we typically do well. He is just playing with himself. I guess so. All right. Okay. This is rice smoked haddock, which is a fish, eggs, curry powder, onions, butter, parsley. Matt Saigai, are you just gonna say India for all of them? I mean, admittedly, it might be India, but Netherlands, it could be the Netherlands. Actually, that literally could be the Netherlands because they take places. Is that what that is, Louise? Louise, do you agree that this is the Netherlands? Because if you think that this is the Netherlands, Louise, I support that. If there's two of you that say the Netherlands, uh, okay, I'll try the Netherlands. Oh, very close to the Netherlands, to the northwest. So, is it the UK? Oh, the UK! Thank you. It's Griffic and SoCal. Hey, it is the wow. Really? That's the UK? Oh, I would never have guessed. I never would have guessed. Of course, I'm sure it was. I mean, a lot of that stuff was probably taken from India, but okay, that's interesting. Kidgari. Am I pronouncing that right? Kidgari? All right. The name Kidgari is believed to have its roots in the Indian dish, yeah, kikri, which is a mixture of rice and lentils. Gotcha. They added, so the British added fish and eggs. Interesting. Okay. So I guess technically, Matt Saigai, it was India, but this was altered by the English to make it slightly more English, I guess. Okay. Okay. It was kind of a loot, wasn't it, Matt Saigai? All right, moving on. Potatoes, rye bread. This is definitely European. Okay, like where's the flavor? Dear God, this is like so European. Okay, potatoes, rye bread, dough, salt, pork fat, onions, and buttermilk. Like this is the most European thing I've ever seen in my life. It's so sad. It's depressing almost. It's like, can we have a little flavor here? Like, I don't know. It's like a pinch of spice. Salt, guys, I'm not joking. I had a family member. Oh my God, I don't know if I should say this on stream. I had a family member who literally, I kept asking this person because whenever this person cooked something, it would always be very bland, and and this individual could never figure out why. So I was like, "Well, just add some spice to it." And she goes, "I do add spice. I add salt and pepper." Oh my God, there are more spices in the world than salt and pepper, and there's so many Americans and the English or Europeans who think that the only two spices in the world are salt and pepper. Okay, so and even then they don't do much of it. Okay, so this is, what do we think, guys? Where do we think this is? Yeah, Louise, I don't think it's that bad as the English. Okay, yeah, not okay. Uh, so what do we think here? Let's try rye bread dough. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, I know. I had a mate that thought lemon and herbs at Nando's had a kick to it. Jonas, dear God. Okay, guys, you see how I was in a long relationship with a guy from Colombia, and boy, did that change my palate. And now I have a much deeper appreciation for very spicy food because I have trouble not eating spices now. I find a lot of traditional Ohio foods kind of boring. Okay. So this is where do we think this is from? Potatoes, rye bread dough, salt, onions, buttermilk. I should visit you, Matt Saiga. I'd love to actually. You think Poland? We'll try Poland. Oh, it borders Poland. It's to the northeast of Poland. So what? What do we think then? Do we think like Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, or Belarus? Let's try Estonia. Oh, I guess it'd be Lithuania. Sorry, it'd be Lithuania because it borders. Lithuania. Nope. Latvia? Did someone say Latvia? That looks like a Latvian name or a nope. Oh my God. Is it okay? Is it Russia? Is it Russia? Or should I risk it and say Lithuania? Or I'm sorry, should I risk it and say Estonia? You think Belarus? But it says northeast of Latvia. Like, I feel like this is Estonia, but if this is just Estonian, that'd be unique. Oh my God, it's Russia. It has to be Russia. It's Russia. Okay, I should have just. It's Russia and Finland. Russia and Finland. Oh my God, we need to get gas. We need to get gas. Okay, this is Rusland. Oh, Russia. Okay. Well, that kind of explains. No offense to Russians, but not exactly known for the cuisine over there. So this is all right. What is this called? Hapon loco. Traditional Karelian. Okay, so near Finland. It originates from the Karelia region, which spans across Finland and Russia. Karelia has a rich culinary heritage, influenced by both Finnish and Russian cuisines. Hapan loco is made primarily from potato and rye bread dough. I I don't okay. You know what? I'm sure people like it out there. I am not culturally imperialist. You all can enjoy your foods wherever you may be from. Moving on, next one here. Ooh, that looks delicious. Ham, puff pastry. I feel attacked. Cheese, mayo, onion, mustard. Cheese, ham, puff pastry, cheese, mayo, onion, mustard. Ooh. You think the UK it does look remarkably UK-ish. It looks remarkably UK-ish. It's Griffic. If you're right and it's Belgium, I'll be very mad that I got that wrong. Okay, we'll try the UK. I'm seeing multiple people say the UK. We will try the UK. It is not. It is not the UK. It is not the UK. Would someone please tell me where this is from? And it's not Belgium either because it's from the southwest of the UK. Southwest of the UK. I think you're wrong, Dolly Boy. And but this makes no sense. It says it borders the UK. It has to be Ireland then. It has to be Ireland, right? Because it says it borders the UK. What else borders the UK except for Ireland? You think it's Atlantis, Drusilla? Okay, you think you're right. It is Catholic, Mayflower Kid. Let's try Ireland, though. I don't know how you can get away with saying it is Ireland. Okay, jambon. It's called jambon. A jambon is a type of savory pastry commonly found in Ireland. It consists of a square or rectangular puff pastry filled with pieces of diced ham and cheese. I just want to be clear to all you UK people out there, Ireland is not part of the UK. Okay? I know you've tried multiple times to make it part of the UK, but maybe you should tone down on that imperialist spirit a bit. But okay, you all said it's the UK, it's the UK. No, the people of Ireland ought to be free, all right? I just want to make that clear. Honestly, I'm just mad that I got it wrong. Okay. Yeah, you too, Dolly boy. You too. All right. Okay. Sorry, I'm being a dick. All right. All right. Here, you should keep its independence. Yeah. Okay. Fair. Yes. Agreed, Louise. I know. Guys. I know. I'm joking. I hope you all know that y'all. I agree. I know y'all don't actually think that Ireland should be part of the UK. I'm just being an asshole. Okay. Um. Okay, NATO guarantees independence. Yes, exactly. No, it's a joke. It's a joke, folks. It's a joke. Okay. All right. Yeah, right, Matt Saigai. How dare you? Okay. All right. Let's go on. um, Weird amorphous blob. That is a pretty funny geopolitical joke there. Okay, moving on. All right. What's this? Is this borscht? Not borscht. I'm sorry. I don't know what it's called. I have always been pro-colonialism, right? Yeah, right. Jonas being pro-colonialism, hilarious. How dare you, Louise? I was joking, okay? I was joking as in, I know all of you don't want Ireland to be part of the UK, okay? Anyway. Or at least you don't want, anyway. All right, moving on. Yes, I know, Yori, I know. Y'all need to take a joke, all right? I know. Maybe I shouldn't make jokes about geopolitics. I'm implying that, I know it's a separate country, and I know that there's a part of it that is not a separate country, and that's called Northern Ireland. I know, okay? It was a joke. It was a joke about how the British Empire has always murdered, imperialized, and colonized Ireland. Okay. I know. Okay. I was trying to link all of you to that violent ideology because I'm an asshole, even though I know that you don't have it. Are we settled? Gosh, don't be crying, Drusilla. Don't make me start talking about what the Vikings did to Europe, okay? And I know that's all you want to do, Drusilla. You just want to go raid. You just want to go raid some monastery. Okay, anyway. Okay, I'm calm. I'm calm. Moving on. This dish is lamb or beef, onion, tomato, green pepper, garlic, olive oil, salt, black pepper, red pepper flakes, sumac, and parsley. Okay. Okay. What do we think? It's graphic. I agree. Though it's graphic, there might be some people in here that disagree with me on that. But I am not pro NATO. I am, however, pro preventing Russian imperialism. So if NATO is preventing that, I don't know if I want to get rid of NATO yet. I know we can all hate me. I know. But okay. I also do not I just don't want Russian imperialism. Okay, moving on. I am not okay. This is okay. You know what? We all know this. We all know that some people disagree with me about NATO. Okay, I know. So here's the thing, folks. Well, okay. You know what? Let us let's finish this, and then I will talk to you about this a bit. Lamb or beef, onion, tomato, green pepper, garlic, olive oil, salt, black pepper, red pepper flakes, sumac, or parsley. Dolly boy, don't you dare. Um, Yeah, no, weird amorphous blob. I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying that people who don't like NATO are pro-Russian imperialism. I am not. I don't like NATO. I just want it to exist if for the moment to prevent Russian imperialism. If we could get rid of it right now, I would love that. Okay. All right. lamb or beef, onion, tomato, green pepper, garlic, olive oil, salt, black pepper, red pepper flakes, sumac, or parsley. What do we think? I think this is from somewhere in Eastern Europe. Okay. Yeah. Somewhere in Eastern Europe. Do we think that? What do we think here? Well, I don't know. You have ideas here, folks? I don't see a reason for Ireland to join NATO. Weird Amorphous Blob. I get it. Russia? Yeah. Russia, Drusilla? Okay. I'll try Russia. You know, I'm going to listen to Drusilla on this one because Russia's the only one that has offered sound. Everyone out there is. Uh, oh no, it is not. It is southwest of Russia, or I should say northwest of Russia, or could be west of Russia. Let's try. I'm going to try Poland because I know that that is well. Okay, southeast. This makes zero sense. Southeast of Poland. Okay, so do we think Ukraine? Let's try Ukraine. I'm going to try Ukraine. Speaking of NATO, let's try Ukraine. Could be Turkey. No, it can't. It can't be Ukraine because Ukraine is bordering Poland. So why? Okay. Um, it could be Turkey. Oh, you're right. It says Tas Kebab. It's Turkey. I'm sorry. I didn't even notice the name was up there. It's Turkey. Okay. Yeah, but it's Turkey. I should have guessed that. Should have guessed that. All right. All right, excellent. Okay, guys, we didn't. Yeah, we. Thank you, TJ. You got that one. Thank you. All right, guys, let me put up my face here. Let's talk brief chat, and then I am gonna go because then I'll be back later for the After Dark stream. So here's the thing about NATO, right? Okay, not a fan of NATO. NATO is simply an extension of the American empire. I gotta tell you. I gotta tell you. I gotta tell you. NATO extension of the American empire. It is sort of a way of maintaining control over Europe, and it is sort of an imperial sphere. And there are lots of, for example, American military bases in Europe, which kind of shows that. And it kind of gives America a lot of control over Europe. There's a lot of issues with NATO. It is also aggressive. It is not just defensive. It has often been deeply aggressive. All right. It just has been in many different ways. But you all know I'm a humanist, right? And there's an issue where right now, if we look at the immediate moment, okay, even though, NATO was apparently formed to fight the Soviet Union. So why is it still around if the Soviet Union is gone? Anyway, regardless, right now, Putin is an imperialist and has attacked Ukraine. And there's evidence he has designs on other countries over there in Eastern Europe. And if NATO is the thing protecting those people from being invaded, at the moment, I'm okay with it. And my question for people who think, if there is anyone out there who thinks we should disband NATO right now, is why is it that there is tons of evidence that Putin has been pumping out tons of propaganda digitally in Europe to try and disintegrate NATO and the European Union? Look it up. The Russian propaganda apparatus is constantly pumping anti-NATO, anti-European Union propaganda all over the internet and trying to divide people in Europe and make them anti-European Union and anti-NATO. It's because they don't want them to be part of it and they want them to be not together so that they can continue their imperialism. And it also, admittedly, they also might feel threatened by NATO, which I understand if you look at Russia's history. Okay. Yeah, you're right, Dolly Boy. And Trump doesn't like it either because Trump loves Russia. So I am not pro NATO, but I'm also if I care about people, the Ukrainians are being attacked. I care about the Ukrainians. For some of the Europeans here in chat, I like I think we have someone from Norway in here. I understand the fear, and I don't want Putin to attack anyone else. So if NATO is preventing that, for now, I'm okay with it. I would really prefer there not be a NATO, but if that's what's protecting people, I guess, I don't know I guess my issue is I don't know what would we do what would we do without NATO right now? What would happen if NATO didn't exist? So I think we need to be all right, you see what I mean. Okay? It's an issue. Um yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. Exactly, weird amorphous blob. And I'm trying to be careful here about how I phrase this. Like I don't NATO uh yeah. No, well, TJ, NATO doesn't really exist without America. So I'm sorry to say that NATO is intricately linked up with America. Um, yeah, it's a big issue. And unfortunately, Putin has made this worse on Russia because now everyone wants to be a member of NATO. And I probably would have been more anti-NATO before this war too. But now I'm just like, well, what do you expect to happen? You're going to attack people, they're going to want to protect themselves. All right. Yeah. Oh, all right. So, yeah, Jonas, I like John. I like John uh Kirikow in a lot of ways. He so yeah, maybe he has done some stuff on Russia today. I don't know. He's done a lot of good stuff. And you're right. You're absolutely right, Jonas. We actually Russia asked to join NATO and NATO did say no. Because when NATO was originally formed, and when the Soviet Union collapsed, Russia, the thought was, well, why can't we join NATO? We are, we're not the Soviet Union anymore. And NATO said no, which just reveals to you that it's more of an imperialism thing. And you can understand why Russia might feel threatened by that. The problem is that right now, NATO functions to stop Putin's aggression. So in the moment, yeah. In the moment, it is at least stopping more violent aggression. Overall, don't like it, but I am not doing by the way, I'm not saying these things for the sake of the United States. I'm saying it for the sake of people in Eastern Europe who are threatened by Putin's expansion. I don't give a shit about America's interest in this regard. For example, America is helping Ukraine not because we care about Ukraine. It's because we want to prevent Russian expansion. We want to bleed dry their military, a bunch of other things. But you know what? If it kind of prevents more Russian aggression, I'm actually not that big of a. I don't really care that we've sent weapons. I got to tell you, now, America doesn't have good interest here. I know I'm kind of weird in this way, but this is complicated. You all know I'm not pro-American imperialism. All right. Uh, okay. Yeah, it does. Yeah, no, exactly. America controls NATO, guys. Like NATO would not exist without America. America is like, all right. And okay, anyway, I'm getting people from both sides here we got people, this is always I know this is a very easily debatable issue. I tend to think about the immediate moment and what is best for people on the ground. And right now, I think the harm of NATO is not as bad as what it's preventing at this moment. You see what I mean? Yeah, you're right, Weird Amorphous Blob. If you see what I mean. Okay. So, okay, guys. And I will point out, though, in Russia's defense, and I'm not a defender of Putin, you also have to think historically. Russia has been invaded multiple times from the east during World War I, during World War II, and the Crimean War. Well, they didn't really invade it. Well, they kind of were. The United States invaded Russia during its revolution. So there is a fear in Russia historically of invasion. I can understand that too. And so one argument is that the NATO getting closer to Russia's borders might make them feel threatened. Guys, that's not why Putin's doing this, though. Okay, Putin is not. Okay, there's more. Okay, I could go on. Uh, Dolly Boy is joking. Dolly Boy is joking. Weird amorphous blob. He's talking about me. He's not talking about you. Yeah, yeah. You see what I mean, guys? All right, and but we can debate this. Um, yeah. No, you know what? More power to Europe. It's Griffic. I think I do wish Europe could defend itself as opposed to America doing it a lot of the time. You see what I mean? Um, I agree, weird amorphous blob. I would much rather. Okay, it's Griffic. It's Griffic. It's Griffic. We have different perspectives in this community. Weird amorphous blob has a very legitimate perspective on this. I largely agree with it, and I also agree with you. It's Griffic. But this is weird amorphous blob is not some like it's not a fool. She has very good reasons for what she believes, okay? And I agree with her, but we can be respectful about it, okay? I get it. I get it, guys. This is why I wanted to pause to talk about it because this is a very divisive issue, especially on the left. It just is. Okay. Um, all right. That is true, weird amorphous blob. All right, you guys. So, and okay, folks, thank you all for let's just chatting here. Uh let's talk a bit. So, well, not let's talk a bit. I'm gonna go now, right? Again, folks, don't forget, I'm gonna be doing another after dark stream later. My after dark stream will probably start between 6:30 and 7:30. Please stop by. It'll be over on Twitch. We'll listen to some music. We'll do some funnies. Maybe we'll do some a Neo Limette guy. How dare you? Uh, uh you know, thank you, Dolly Boy. Oh my God. Thank you, Dolly Boy. Uh, so let's talk about oh yes, the time zone is Eastern Standard Time. Eastern Standard Time. So I'll be streaming sometime between 6:30 and 7:30 Eastern Standard Time tonight for After Dark stream. Please join us. It'll be over on Twitch. We typically are a bit more relaxed. Maybe I'll be drinking something, and we'll have a grand old time listening to music, chatting, doing some funny things. Okay. How many hours is that in? Drusilla, that is in 1.5, I think, or almost 2 hours. Yeah, no, Jonas, you're also right. Okay, you're also right about that. Right. But again, Jonas, Russia they're the one that attacked Ukraine. Ukraine was not going to be attacking Russia. Putin also had an interest in attacking Ukraine. So multiple countries can be guilty. And okay, so of an issue. All right, guys. Uh, you all have a good rest of your day. I'm going to do my little sign off, and you all know what I'm about to say. You all know what I'm about to say. First of all, free Palestine, and let's get Ukraine free. Yeah, they probably won't be able to get them completely free. I do want peace. Let's have a just peace as best we can. Free Palestine. Second of all, never stop resisting. The easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves. The easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves, and that includes when you watch me. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. See what other people are saying. Don't get caught in an information silo because the easiest way to resist is to think for yourself. We are living in a fascist moment in this country. Fascism thrives in an environment where people have lost faith in their democratic institutions. For that sake, we need major reforms. We need major reforms in this country. You cannot stand in the center. If you stand in the center, the fascists will walk all over you. Do not be a slug. Do not let the fascists walk all over you. Resist, okay? On the wall behind me, Dolly Boy, thank you. Doug isn't here. I'm glad you corrected me. Thank you. On the wall behind me is a sword. The name of that sword is Chainbreaker. Chainbreaker is thought to have been responsible for the death of 7 slave owners. Why do we have it back there? I have it back there to remind everyone that our ancestors made some major sacrifices for the things we have today, some of the rights we have, and things like that, okay? We cannot let those sacrifices go to waste, folks. Please, please, please do not let their sacrifice go to waste, and always, always, always fight for a better future. And on that note, folks, you all have a good rest of your day. I will be coming back on between 6:30 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I will see you then. Stop on by. I will not be streaming tomorrow because tomorrow is Sunday. Love you all very much. Bye-bye.